Hey, hey, hey.
Wednesday, Wednesday, Wednesday.
Get a Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Shoot Madeline, too, so we can get mad in there. I don't know what we're talking about tonight, but the bar's open and we got beers. So,
Beers. Get your beers.
October best.
Yeah, we're getting early start. Like Marshbrow. That's too much. Hamburg, Germany.
Yeah, my boys studied in German in ninth grade, and we'll see how that works out. Two things I want to know. I want to know how to order a beer and where the bathroom is.
I guess we could talk about the debate.
Why do they even call it a debate? It was just a forum, you know.
Yeah, forum. And then they put them in front of a bunch of vets and made Hillary Clinton look good. That Matt Lauer dude's a dick, man. I can't believe. I don't know. Guys like him and Stephanopoulos, and I can't stand these guys, man. I don't understand. I mean, I can't say what I'm thinking here online, but
Well, it's a Ministry of Propaganda.
they prop her ass up, man. I mean, you think after this bitch is hacking and all that shit, like you think she's done? Nope, she's not done. You think FBI dumps all this stuff? She's done. Nope, she's not done.
Coast to Coast AM last night had a segment called Doctor Feelgood, and it talked about how this doctor, who he was hired by all kinds of celebrities, including JFK and Jackie, and I don't know. They told a list of a bunch of people that used his services, but he's basically shooting people up with fucking meth, liquid meth, and giving them injections of it. And I guess who knows? Maybe Hillary's getting something like that. But that was apparently liquid meth wasn't illegal back in the '60s, so you can fucking shoot yourself up.
Was he a big black guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I was on the radio, so I don't know the description of the doctor, but.
Don't the guy look like Dorner, her handler? I thought it was Dorner.
Oh yeah, the guy with the EpiPen thingy. Yeah.
We're all about it.
Hillary, time for another dose of meth. You gotta wake up.
Yeah, he disappeared for a while, and I saw him the other day though on her airplane hiding out. But the FBI is totally in collusion with her. Like, I mean, I don't know. That's insane. I mean, when you look at the FBI's reputation, I guess it's not really that surprising, but.
I mean, the point is she just outright lied to Congress at the same time. Everybody says, "Oh, she didn't do anything wrong." I see nothing.
Yeah, and then the document dump on Friday, right before the weekend, like.
What documents was that?
Like the rest of her emails that they found, the 30,000 she dumped.
Not all the Blackberries they smashed?
No, but it was just like, I don't know, man. I don't get how somebody gets away with lying like that. I mean, I don't know about other people, but, I get lied to. That shit pisses me off, man. That's like.
But she's lying for somebody else's cause, so they're lying for. Since she's lying for their cause, they don't care.
Well, everybody's saying we're done for. Jones, Pachinik, Breitbart, Drudge, Savage, freaking Hagman, the whole bunch. You said if she gets in, it's over.
I like Savage, man. I like Savage probably more than anybody on the radio.
That's not, it's kind of weird when Trump was talking about all these generals and shit he's met with, but he kind of has the feeling that they're not going to have their jobs for very long, so he's got to find some new ones or something.
Well, supposedly everybody on his list is everybody's retired and nobody's active, and everybody that she's got on her list is active duty. They said something about
you shouldn't be able to do that. You can't endorse a president when you're active duty.
The weird part is one of the guys, his name, he's an admiral or a general, General Fig Newton. I mean, are you fucking
No.
kidding me?
God.
Swear to God today. One of the guys on her list is General Fig Newton or Admiral Fig. I
His
don't know.
mama need to be slapped for naming him that.
I mean, but
That can't be legit.
yeah. I mean, did you see the Navy officer that was walking with her in that parade over the summer? He had his cover on sideways, medals all fucking.
That guy
I mean,
wasn't legit. That guy
Yeah,
needs
he
to be
wasn't
smacked.
legit.
Yeah. Gosh, been.
I think Trump's got all the ones that got purged in the last Obama purge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was always been talk about Ron Paul if he became president that he might fire most of the Secret Service and replace them with military people. He feels like he can trust them better. So anybody getting fucked with their monetization bullshit on YouTube?
Oh yeah, they flagged like all my videos, everything that's political, everything that's like. Okay, cool. I'm gonna switch over to this in just a second, but yeah, they flagged all my shit. It all says not advertiser friendly or something like that. And so everything that has to do with news or politics or anything like that is all non-monetizable now. And that's why I just split the channel into two, because I was getting warnings like as far as probably like 2-3 months ago, I'm going to shut your channel down. Your channel's going to get shut down. I was getting messages about that shit. You know what I mean? Like people basically, that's what they were talking about. If somebody doesn't like your shit now, they can get you shut down just for, you know, and there's no way to contest it. I mean, there was already really no way to contest it when they felt you violated something. You know, you would send something back to them, and sometimes you would win and you get it back and you could do it, but I just separated the channels into two channels. One where one where I don't monetize nothing, will all be all the political and all the news and all that, and then over here on this channel, just because I got so many videos, will be all the reviews and road trips and all that kind of shit, you know, user friendly.
Yeah, that's the kind of sad part. 'Cause if you want to do a lot of political shit, you have to somehow do your fundraising other than relying on the YouTube. At least you can still get your message out, unless they don't block the videos, but they probably don't put them at the top of the ranks either, you know. Yeah, a lot of it's just gonna be word of mouth, just fucking people sharing shit. You know, if it's a good channel and a good video, share it. I threw that one up in the external about it was an Infowars parody of a news report, or, you know, there Joe Biggs sitting in the front row at the Hillary thing, getting coughed on. It was kind of funny.
I saw the video, but I didn't watch it. I was like,
It's only about a minute or so long, but he's sitting there with his hazmat suit and all this blood like shit getting splattered on him. Hillary hacking on him.
I'm gonna pull it up. Hold on. I'm gonna switch accounts real quick because I'm gonna turn Saints up here.
Yeah, Tony, he's gonna change his clothes, turn into a new channel. Well, thanks everybody for coming out. You got 13 watching, it says. Some of the usuals out there.
Well, it's ridiculous. They changed the whole election format for Crooked Hillary. You know, it seems like it's always been the same. Everybody's had a fair shot, and this year it comes out and they changed the whole format, the debates and everything because of Crooked Hillary. I mean, my gosh.
Well, say again, that thing tonight wasn't a debate. So when are they actually going to get, quote, the real first debate? Looking forward to that.
I don't think they'll have one. I think she'll figure out how to keep from debating the guy face to face.
I mean, what the hell? Put Johnson in there too, you know, just to stir things up a little bit. I used to like Johnson, but I don't care much for his VP, and very much it sounds like the Libertarians got hijacked by the Democrats. They're both about the same age. They can just put them in the octagon and let them duke it out for 3 minutes or something. Yeah, we got out here partisan gorillas out there. Sherry, American Black Shirt, Winging It Tracy, Johnny Master, Arms Done. How you doing, Johnny? I guess that's the most recent ones that commented. Thanks for watching. We got 18 watching. So if we can get our host back in the action here, this is our main bartenders. Yeah, they were talking about that, all the bullshit with YouTube. Like, okay, when you start your entry into one of these live chats, it's, you got to click that you've read their terms of service. Yeah, sure. Who's actually read it? And if you have read it, then you're supposed to agree that you, quote, understand it. Well, I don't know, like most Americans, I'm incompetent, so like, how the fuck can I understand this fucking legal agreement? It's going to take me longer to read than it is to actually participate in this stupid chat.
Really, if you violate the chat, really, it's like sue me,
But I mean, just all this crap about when you're manufactured consent. Everything you buy something, you're signing some sort of fucking agreement. It's like, you can't buy the product if you don't accept their terms. So you're just like bonding yourself into slavery. I love that because theoretically you have the right to counter off on their agreement. Modify the contract and hand it back to them, and if they accept it, then you're good. Supposedly some guy in Russia did that with his credit card application. He lined out some shit and changed a few things like he's paying no interest rates, there's no fees, no late charges, and there's no time limit as to when he had to pay the borrowed money on the credit card back. And they just ran it right through the processing and didn't even fucking notice it, I guess. And so when the guy stopped paying, they're like, well, what the fuck's going on? Well, here's the agreement. You agreed to it that I didn't have to pay anything. I can pay you what I want to, I guess. And he got away with it for a while, and then somehow some corporate court, came on top of it and said, no, you can't do that. They just made a mistake. You got to owe them the money and the fees and the interest, all that bullshit. So fuck that. So what's the weather like down there in Alabama? You kind of missing most of that hurricane bullshit?
Yeah, just hot and dry.
Must all just went east of you.
It did. We got 30 minutes of rain out every bit of that, and that was it.
Yeah.
It's just hot as it can be and humid and, oh man, yards brown and crunchy.
Yeah, so it's kind of normal for this time of year, pretty much, right?
It is. August is really bad around here.
I remember I was working a highway job down in Georgia that got assigned to go down there near Macon, a little town called Forsyth. We were rebuilding I-75 and showed up down there at midnight, like in the middle of August, and I just couldn't believe it. I get out of my truck and I go, fuck, it's like still 90 degrees out at fucking midnight, humid, and man, this is gonna suck.
That's the way it is here.
Yeah.
I can't get in as the tavern, man. It's asking for a recovery number or email, and fucking G's on vacation, or I don't know what G's doing.
Oh.
So,
Who else is in here besides the Saints?
G, that's him, but he's
not here. Okay.
Yeah.
It won't let you in with a password.
No, I put in the password, and because if you log in from multiple devices, it asks for.
Yeah, I'm on hanging.
There's G.
I'll see if these boys are chatting yet.
What the fuck?
Oh my God! Hard. Nap time's over.
We
I
started the
told the
show.
motherfuckers I started for them. Oh no, Lovey. Let me go.
Just keep acting like you're
Well, it's about time. Looky. I'm sending this motherfucker since 9:45.
Yeah. What floor are we on? Third. Oh.
What time is it? Like fucking midnight over here? Everyone's fucking grubbing over here like the fucking cafeteria over here, Brother Jimmy. I mean, damn, these motherfuckers made me go and fucking make some grub.
We're going to smorgasbord. I'm gonna eat a week's worth of food in 1 hour.
Tony said, yeah, yo, I'm grubbing with HD. We'll be there. I said, what the fuck am I doing sitting here fucking got this bitch open? I might as well go make some fucking grub too. Shit. You know what I'm saying, DJ?
Hello. See, he knows.
We got everybody here. We got like the whole Nevada team almost, and
Feel like we're having a fucking
Yeah,
picnic over here.
the Santilli thingy, that's something that could keep us busy for a while talking about.
yeah,
So,
Santilli.
what do you think about that,
Santilli
T?
beat the
Oregon rap.
he beat the Oregon rap. Well, they just let him. Well, they let him off of it. They just dropped it all.
Right. Drop charges.
Well, that's what happens when you start snitching.
That's what I was thinking
When you start what?
when you start snitching.
HD,
What's up?
what it be, yo?
If they drop all the Nevada charges too, I'll be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's
Wasn't
not.
even involved.
Yeah,
Kind of fucked up, dude, just to drop charges and let the man walk like
He
that.
was up here at the rally area. I don't even know if he went to the ranch one time.
We gotta
Wow.
get HD some fucking headphones or something.
If I remember Santilli at the Bundy Ranch, he was like in his car fucking away, wasn't even fucking anywhere near where all the action was.
They said somebody else turned state's witness on them too. One of the main guys turned state's witness too.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
forget the
I
dude's
think
name.
We'll call the main guy.
Brother Sap, what do they say? Snitches get stitches.
Yeah, but there's no checks and balances in the Patriot community like that.
I don't think anybody knows who's who
Yeah,
on that deal.
I mean
I
everybody.
don't know, dude.
Everybody
Whole
who's a
situation.
3%er or militia or whatever is trying to save their own ass. They definitely ain't gonna go out and fucking whack somebody.
Yeah, that's what I think, dude. Everyone's out for their own ass. Whatever
Yeah,
they can do.
It doesn't work like the Hillary and Clinton bullshit.
Right?
Right. Yeah.
People just start fucking dropping dead.
Motherfuckers end up in dumpsters. And you know they're in fucking Nevada. Get the shovel. Start heading for the fucking
But wasn't Santilli in the discovery process requesting just all kinds of fucking shit that'd be damning against the government? And so it barely got to the point where, okay, the judge is going to let this evidence in, so we're not going to go to trial to keep it from coming up.
It wasn't Blaine Cooper. It was the other guy that got him on the same day.
It was the guy Mark. Mark something. He's the one who snitched. guy that drove the Jeep.
He's turned state witness or whatever.
The guy that drove the Jeep is the one who.
Oh, he was a fucking snitch.
That's the one who snitched.
He was an
Oh, they got
informant.
another one too. They got one that's been in jail that flip flopped on him too. Said he was going to help the prosecution.
No shit.
Yeah.
What's up with your boy?
PayPal froze all the Bundy Ranch accounts.
What's up with your boy saying that he's going to represent himself? The dude Ryan with the fucked up face. He said he don't need no. He said he's not getting a lawyer. The guy that tried to escape, Ryan Bundy. Ryan Bundy's the one with the face.
That's what I said.
He didn't try to escape. What are you
They
talking
said they
about?
found like
Yeah,
a
whatever.
whole bunch of.
No, I mean, HD, he did, dude. He called him.
I don't believe that for a heartbeat.
I'm telling you, bro. And then he said, I'm not fucking getting a lawyer. I'm going to represent myself.
Right, but the judge wouldn't let him represent himself.
Yeah, no shit. That's a problem. I wouldn't be surprised if that motherfucker tried to escape, dude. Would you, HD?
What?
Would you be surprised if he tried to escape?
I don't
Yeah,
believe it.
because
I mean, isn't he HD? I mean, he's the crazy one, isn't he?
No, that's
No.
how they're painting them. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up right now. Hold on.
Yeah, I pulled it up. I saw it. That motherfucker tried to escape, dude.
Dude, I spent a lot of time with these fools, dude. Probably
I
more
know
than
you did.
a lot of these fools, you know. And
Well, I just thought that he was not so much like he was the outlaw, like the one that just fucking was like.
that's how they're paint. Yeah, that's how they're painting them. But here you go. Here's fuck. What is this? April 20th, 2014.
If you ask me a question, I'll answer it. Why should people in Clark County,
That's Ryan.
you know, get out here?
Well, this issue doesn't really involve the cattle or our Bundy family. This is an issue of freedom and liberty for all Americans. And because of that, Americans should be supporting us. And coming here just shows that support. So we welcome you out here. Come wave your flag, show your support for the freedom and liberty of this country, and stand against the tyrannical governments that are trying to take away those freedoms. A lot of folks go overseas and serving in the military thinking they're fighting for freedom. And I commend them for that. But our freedoms are really being lost right here on the home ground, not across the ocean. And so right here is the battleground. Right here is where we're trying to win our freedom back. Right here in Clark County, Nevada. So if you live in Clark County, this is a good place to be.
Right on. Thank you.
And I mean, dude, this is like one of the most like personable people. Maybe I don't know if that's the right word, but I mean, yeah, he always when I was up there, him and like Ammon was harder to talk to. Ammon was always freaking busy, but Ryan and Cliven would drop everything, dude. When my truck got stuck out there, I went out to the ranch and I told Cliven, I was like, hey, my truck's stuck. And he sat out there with us forever. And he called one of his buddies and he was on his way to church. It was on Sunday, you know. He was on his way to church and he told him his farmer buddy said, take the tractor down there and get them guys out of the mud. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to really say about any of this. You know, the way that none of it makes sense. I mean, you got motherfuckers burning down shit. You got people calling for the death of cops. You got people killing cops. You got real fucking criminals just doing whatever the fuck they want. And Lavoie gets a bullet, and all these guys end up in jail. And I mean, what in what world does that make sense?
What world makes sense? I'll tell you what makes fucking sense. How the fuck be fucking lucky that we don't got 50% of our people fucking believe in Sharia law, like fucking London. Over in London, what is it now, Brother Seth? Like 50% all believe in Sharia law now?
All that's coming, buddy. Freedom of speech is going away. It's all going away.
I told you.
Washington district attorneys calling for a assault weapons ban. They're freaking communists are taking over, brother.
I'm telling you, we are going to be the minorities. I said it a while ago. I'll say it again.
We're already the minorities.
But
we are going to be the minorities. We are going to be outlawed by the Muslims.
Hillary's taking an axe to the First Amendment. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. I'd bet if I had $1 million, I'd bet $1 million to a donut on that.
I mean, you know, at the Lavoie funeral, there's probably, I don't know, there's thousands of people there. You know, maybe 3,000 to 4,000, maybe a little bit less. I don't know.
What are you talking about, Tom? 3,000, 4,000.
I'm just saying though, we're already in the minority. You got say at most there was 3,000 people at Lavoie's funeral.
Really?
There should have been goddamn half the country should have been at that funeral.
Sure, but they don't care.
And I mean that's why it's every man for himself. That's my philosophy now.
That's what I've been saying. Nobody cares, yeah. Nobody fucking cares. As long as they're fucking taking care.
You better get you some people around you can trust.
And yeah, like my dad said, you can only fucking use one hand to count how many people you can trust. And if you start using your second hand, you got one too many. Because they're fucking false.
Everybody's a lone wolf. Too many lone wolves out there. Everybody wants to be a lone wolf. Me
against the world.
Yeah, but with the feds doing what they do, that just breaks people down even more. You know, like remember how much people boasted about being a 3%er, and they boasted about being an oath keeper, and boasted about being militia. That shit's all gone now. You don't hear people talking like that no more.
Nobody even the word oath keeper doesn't even come out of people's mouths anymore. There's a bunch of people probably hid all their T-shirts.
Exactly. That group's like non-existent.
I'm not saying there's not groups out there. I know there's groups. You know, I'm not going to say names. I mean, of course, all of us know people that are in some type of group, let's just say, but like Tony's saying, man, when that shit broke down, where were the 3%ers? Where's the Oaks? Where's the fucking this? Where's that?
There's
It's ghost town. Ghost town.
there's criminal organizations that have less heat than patriots have right now. You know,
Jack.
you could be a
We know
fucking
that firsthand.
you could be a fucking Hell's Angel or a Gambino or whatever. And Obama even put away a bunch of Gambinos like a month ago.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, if you're a patriot and you believe, you know, I always joke around with the hard stand thing that fucking Ammon said. You know, like you fucking want to make a hard stand, it's like you better be prepared to either get a hard bullet or a hard fucking jail cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He's
that's why you leave it up to ranchers.
He's 70 years old when they got his ass in the slammer.
Should have figured it out themselves. When they only had 15 of that 500 plus crowd go with them, they should have known something was not right.
HD, come closer to the mic, bro.
I don't want to. What do you want?
Motherfucker.
What's up?
What's up, brother? How you been, man?
I've been trying to make sense of things and stay busy like everybody else.
What's up with the fucking, with the water update? You got anything new come out of that, or?
Oh, that legislative hearing?
Yeah.
Just what I posted on G+, just that there will be a legislative, what's called a BDR.
What's that mean?
That will come out in February when the legislative session starts. It's a
What's
draft.
that mean?
It's a draft bill. It's a bill draft resolution that'll be bantied about between the Senate and the Assembly, between whether or not they're going to pass some sort of water bill. But it'll more than likely be way watered down than what's proposed.
Yeah.
They're talking about, you know, they're included in what's going to be in there is going to be water meter restrictions for areas identified as just what's called a distress basin. And that is currently defined already, and the state engineer has a certain authority. And that's the real distressing part about this whole thing is the state engineer has all this leeway already. Why are they asking to give him more authority? It doesn't make any sense. And there's only 2 places in the state this would affect right now. So it really is seen as a future move.
That's what they said. That's what they said.
All the other wells in the state. And
they said Nevada, Cali, and Arizona, bro. Those are the only 3.
Domestic well use in Nevada is only about 2% of total water usage. So you're looking around like, are you serious? You're going to go after the 2% to try to save you some water?
Has there been any letters? Has there been any letters that you or Tony have had from, you know, the county or state or et cetera, about your all's water?
Our water's already metered down here, so
well, they don't. Well, that was what was brought up in that hearing. Was you guys could have sent out a letter and avoided a lot of these people showing up, but everybody getting blindsided on Friday afternoon, on a Thursday afternoon when they hear it on a radio show, is how a lot of people heard it. Just like on that chat I had, that radio show I played back. A lot of people listened to that.
Yeah.
People were blindsided big time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I said, Tony said he's already got a fucking meter to his water. Who the fuck has a meter to their water?
Anybody that lives in the city. Anybody that lives in the city's already metered.
That's fucked. And it calculates your water usage. And if you go over, what, they shut it down to?
This is about domestic wells. This is about wells on land.
Right.
Usually a half acre or bigger.
But to me, that rolls back to the Bundys. You know, like if you got water going through your property, they're gonna chase you off your property. And if you have a well which you paid for and dug on your own land, they're gonna regulate it. So they'll put you out of business or take your land or whatever if you got water flowing through your property. And if you dug a well and you paid for a well and you're pumping water out of the ground, they're gonna register it, meter it, all that. I mean,
wow,
it all comes back to the same shit.
They're claiming water that's under your feet. If you've owned the land for 100 years, they're coming in and saying, The water that's under you, it belongs to us because we say so. That's the way I look at it.
And if you have a
Unreal.
creek or a river or something outright running through your property, you're outright just going to have your shit taken.
Well, Obama did that a couple years ago, taking charge of all when the FEMA or whatever it was took over all the rights of the drainage and waterways and everything else, the ditch.
And that was EPA regulations. What they define as navigable water. And that's how they went after that guy in Wyoming. And that guy in Wyoming just won in court because he built that pond. But they shot that down. Fortunately, somebody has some common sense. But I don't know how long that'll last.
But they took control of all that stuff. Anything, I mean, drainage ditches, anything that anywhere, I guess that hold water, they're claiming it.
Yeah, and that was in the legislative brief too. The EPA and the what's called the Nature Rights Conservancy or somebody like that had a letter they submitted with the legislative council there, and their whole thing was like, water should be defined as all water that percolates in the soil or is part of the water table or is part of rivers, streams, and groundwater. They should all be defined the same so that it all is regulatorily under the same scheme, because that's what they want. They want the EPA to regulate all the water.
I'll tell you what it do, it keep you from being able to go off grid.
Exactly.
Oh, sure.
Exactly.
Well, the EPA regulates everything off the grid. Exactly.
And your ass will be forced to go into the city.
There's no way you'll be able to live without being tied to them by some hook or crook.
I mean, you're literally going to have to be off grid. You're going to have to ship in your water. You're going to have to truck in your water.
So it's a further soft kill tactic, and I don't know. It's like damn, I hate to say we've talked about it before, but if change doesn't happen now, if things aren't reversed, the next generation isn't going to be able to do it. They're going to be too locked down under debt and locked down under all the other problems. They're not going to be able to resist. Resistance to this stuff is now. I mean, I don't know what other way to put it. It is this now. We reverse course or we don't. Bottom line, I see it.
And
Last stand.
you have to have somewhere to make a stand. I mean, if you can't have land and make a stand, because they took away, your ability to have water or access water. I mean, how long can you hold out even on your own land? You got a piece of property out in the middle of nowhere. You got a well in the ground, and you can't even draw water out of the ground, or you can only draw enough water to water household plants inside and maybe wash them. Out here, all the water, all the rivers, everything like that is fenced off. The lakes, the rivers, everything damn near pretty much is fenced off. You're paying.
You gotta pay for that shit, right, Tim?
You have to pay to access the water. It's funny because there's a movie called Into the Wild, and in the movie, it's based on a true story.
I remember that.
Yeah, the kid goes to the BLM or whoever it was, and he's like, I want to kayak down the Colorado River. And the guy says, you got to have a permit. And this was back in the 90s when he did this. So he says, you need a permit to go down the river. And it's like, a permit, he says, a permit? Are you serious? I need a permit to go down the Colorado River. Yeah. Okay, so how long do I have to wait to go down the river or book a class? Like you could take like a whitewater rafting deal down the river. And he says, when's the next one going down the river? And he fucking starts looking through the book. He's like 2003, and it's like 1990 something. So he's like, I have to wait 12 years to paddle down the river in a group. And it's just, I mean, the writing has been on the wall forever. As soon as they started fencing off rivers and fencing off all this stuff out here I used to go to as a kid, my dad used to take us to all these places. There wasn't no fences around it. You didn't have to see a ranger and pay a fee. And dude, some of these places, it's $20 fucking to access the water. $20. We went down to the Colorado River for 4th of July. They wanted $20 a person to access the fucking river. $20 a person. We had us two, 5 kids, you know what I'm saying? And like 3 other adults. So you're talking, what is that, $200 fucking to access the river? And I mean, they usually play everybody on it like, oh, it's conservation. But yet, I mean, they do whatever they want. They do whatever they want with the river. They do whatever they want with whatever they want. And I mean, everybody's got to collectively see the problem. Like, you're going to make me pay to access water.
And then the big money goes into their pocket, and they divvy it out to these contractors that are their friends and in their pocket.
And they all become millionaires like Harry Reid.
Exactly.
I mean, you go into the fucking, into the Senate, and you're just some regular schmuck, and you come out a multi-million-dollar, tycoon, and you own all this. Harry Reid and his son owns goddamn, like, dude owns so much property, it's insane. I mean, I'm done. What do you say? You have to pay to access water. Like, that's all. That's right there is. It don't make sense. You have to pay to access water. I mean, that's something that's God given. I mean, I would say they go as far as to regulate the air and make you pay to breathe air, but I mean, they don't even need to do that. If they do the water, I mean, what's left? I mean, you got what, 3 days you can go without drinking water before you die, right? I think, right? 3 days? Don't drink water for 3 days. You can't access water. You ain't got $20 to go pay the ranger and go on the river or whatever. I don't know, man. That was a buzzkill. When I found out about that domestic well bullshit, I was like, dude, they're literally trying to fuck me from leaving here. Because my plan is to run away, dude. I'm done.
My well's in my basement. I pump my water straight in my basement up into my house. I am not opening the door and putting a meter on my basement, on my well. They can forget that shit.
Yeah, but you remember how it's funny because we talked about this a couple chats ago. We really all came together around the time they were putting the smart meters on people's shit. That's like when a lot of us guys were like, hold up, something's not right. You're telling me you're going to fucking break into my yard and put a fucking meter on my shit, whether I like it or not? And I mean, they were starting fires, and they were doing all types of dumb shit. They were doing all types of dumb shit. And that's how a bunch of us guys met on here, was the smart meters. And now I don't hear nothing about smart meters. I hear nothing. I don't hear nobody fighting about that they're smart meters. It's like we took it, and that's the way it is. It's going to be the same thing with the water and everything else. We're going to take it. We're going to take it until the boot's on the back of your neck and you either die or you strike back or whatever, I mean, it's really all up to, I guess, how far people are willing to go, how far they're willing to, or how much tyranny they're willing to tolerate. It's easy to say we won't tolerate this and we won't tolerate that, but we already are. I mean, these guys were breaking into people's fucking yards. You got women. Remember, there was videos of women standing in their yards. You're not coming in my yard. Oh, we're coming in your yard. Calling the cops. Power companies were calling the cops. To forcefully put a smart meter on your house. So, it's going to be different with the water. That's going to be the breaking point, right? With the water. I don't know. I mean, I'm cynical as fuck. I don't know.
I don't know, back out in the Wild West, a lot of wars is fought over the wells and the water points for the cattle.
I like how Hillary Clinton asked for chairs and then she stood up.
Yeah, say Dr. Feelgood gave her a shot of meth, so that kept her going for a little bit.
Yeah, the guy with the tranquilizer dart.
You're doing that same old. Why don't you just do the bill? Was the bill with the thumb? The bill was the thumb, right? She's This is Hillary. Hillary's the fingers. Bill was the thumb, I thought, right? I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I think he just pointed. He was just like,
No, I think it was the thumb. It was always the thumb.
That is one evil woman. I know that.
We tolerate it though. That's why I've had to change what I'm gonna do. I've had to change what I'm gonna do personally, because I know, and we've talked about it forever, people will tolerate shit until the PlayStation don't turn on no more, you know what I mean, and et cetera, et cetera. I guess people are willing to live in fucking caves and take the oppression all the way to your ass out, either in a FEMA camp or living in a cave fighting some type of guerrilla warfare or whatever, because the writing's on the wall. We're watching it happen. We're watching it. We're living it. We're letting it. And all we could talk about is, well, fuck, you're black. I don't like you. Oh, well, you got white privilege. I don't like you. I mean, we're fucking stuck in the Stone Age with our arguments, and meanwhile, the whole world's burning down, and we just, as a country, we just don't collectively get it.
Oh, it's getting worse than that. You talking about living in a cave? They've got it now to where one of the things that came out, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, is that if you live in a camper, that's not considered a permanent home, and they're trying to regulate that, where you can't set up a permanent dwelling unless it's in some kind of a permanent house. You can't live in a camper and call it a permanent home anymore.
Let's say you can attach a property tax to it and make you pay continuously for using it. It's like, oh, the crown has to own everything. You don't own your house. As long as you keep paying the taxes, the crown gives you the privilege of use, you know?
We gotta take this country back, brother Jimmy.
Yeah.
We gotta fucking, can't be like fucking London, man. I know I keep harping on that shit, man, but I just can't get over how the country just drop their balls for these goat fucking motherfuckers to come in and just take over their shit like that, man. We best not be like that, my brother. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You always kind of wondered, what is that straw that breaks the camel's back that's going to make something happen, you know? Saw a video about auto loans. So many people are just borrowing outrageous amount of money on fucking new cars, and they obviously can't afford it.
They need to go back to their own country. They need to go back to Syria. All those motherfuckers that believe in Sharia law, all those cocksuckers, those radicalist motherfuckers, they need to go. And we, the people, need to stand up and ask these motherfuckers, yo, I guess I take it you're Muslim, right? Yeah. Oh, believe in Sharia law? Oh, yeah. Oh, the Islamic State, huh? Oh, yeah. Well, why the fuck are you here? Shouldn't you go back to Syria? And let that shit be known. Question these motherfuckers. Get these motherfuckers out of here. Let them know that they're not fucking wanted. They have to go.
There's so many people locked into this system. That's what we was talking about the other day. It's ridiculous. If somebody worked in the city and a freaking nuke hit the city and knocked all the power off, they'd get up in the morning and go to work and stand around work, wonder what time they's going to get the power on where they could go to work.
Sure.
And they'd take the kids to school.
And they're booking hotels. They're booking reservations to hotels in the local hotels.
If the freaking Chinese and the Russians were invading, hell, there's people that'd get up in the morning and take their kids to school. Well, I don't know what to do with them. We all got to go to work. My God. Boy, they got everybody where they want them, with their head up their ass so far they can't see anything.
Power goes out for 48 hours. People are fucking in uproar. Shit goes out for fucking 30 days. You'll see fucking riots in the street.
15 days, it'll be the interstates will look like a parking lot.
Man, we ain't doing a shout out in a while. Let's see who's all out there. Thanks everybody who came out and chilled out with us. Sorry we started a little late. Who is this? You've been blowing the internal up. Oh, I gotta shut that off. Okay, 1 second. Cherie. That's a new one. What's going on, Brother PG, Brother Trace? Brother Nugs is out there. What's going on, Nugs?
Nugs, you got a link.
Sure, everybody got linked up early. That's all I can do. It's in their hands. Maybe just trying. What's going on, Brother Charlie? I'll link you up if you want to come through, buddy. We ain't talked to Brother Charlie in a long time. Brother Jimmy's in, Sap is in, Tony Town's in, HDP's in. Not that many people on the external. We got like 20 people watching, but the external is kind of quiet tonight.
I say back to that water meter thingy real quick. They talk about the engineer. The engineer should be working with the larger consumers of the water to improve their operations to conserve. But if they're not doing that, then that's just bullshit to attack the small people that hardly use any.
Yeah. Brother Nug said CEO of Nestle just came out in an interview and said you have no human rights to water.
Yeah, he said water is a commodity that people should have to purchase water. You don't have any human right to water.
PG said Agenda 21 and damming the dams, diverting waterways, on and on. Yep. I'm telling you, man, shit's getting fucking bad when they fucking take your water. Monitor your water, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I listened
What's
to that guy from Nestle, that CEO of Nestle. He's like I don't know, he's German or something, Dutch or from Deutschland or something. And
Right.
man, he was spewing globalism all out of his mouth. Buddy, you could tell he was, he didn't have no love for the little guy.
Tony Town, HD, Jim, what's up? What's next?
I was say that they use the weather modification and direct a continuous stream of deluge onto the Nestle's CEO's property, and he can have 10,000 inches of water per year fall on his property. Here you go, dude. You want the water? Fucking take it.
Pretty much.
Well, they make money off that selling that bottled water. It's a commodity to them, They don't care whether you got no money, you got no water.
And people can't live without water, dude. I can't live without water. I don't know how many people can live without water. Yeah, but I'll join you, dude. Yeah, I will join you.
Yeah, fuck, it's kind of hard to make beer if you don't have any water.
Tell you one thing they're not going to fucking have control over my motherfucking spinach.
Hey, we got. I ain't had none of these since probably HD was last October.
What is it, Tom?
Oktoberfest, Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, I haven't heard you talk about that one. It's all about the JW, baby.
Man, I gotta stay away from that shit. I thought I almost fucking killed myself.
What? Yeah, me fucking calling them like they're fucking.
JW.
Them JWs, boy, shit, they'll kick their fucking dick in the dirt.
James Walker, whatever it's called.
Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker.
What did JD say, James?
So yeah, they wouldn't even let me ship a bottle to Jim, so I gotta order it from like a liquor outlet and just have it shipped to his house. I mean, isn't that stupid?
Well, the Postal Service is worried about liquids and shit breaking in packages, and I can understand that.
Yeah, it's so fucking stupid, man. And I had a voucher. I was looking for it. Somebody gave me a voucher. I think it fell out of my fucking backpack. Voucher, $100 voucher for some wine company online. So if I still got the voucher, I'm gonna send you like pretty pricey bottle of wine too.
That sounds cool.
And I got some ammo free. I got so much shit for you, dude. You're gonna get like 2 or 3 packages by the time it gets to you.
Jimmy's gonna get a fucking nice
the most
early
lagged
Christmas package.
This is the most I ever lagged on something, dude. God.
Yeah, this deal about the BATF or whatever, talking about fucking smokeless powder being an explosive. I suppose you just mail ammo through the post like everybody does. Like, oh, you're mailing explosives to the post. You know, that's going to be a fucking another federal offense.
Funny though, because I've sent ammo through the mail though. I've sent mags and ammo through the mail before.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do it, but at the same time, but they changed the classification from the rapidly burning combustible to a fucking explosive, and then their post office is gonna like, yeah, this is fucking terrorist activity.
All right.
Oh yeah, yeah. They'll throw that blanket over you then.
Imagine you're like,
Oh, that was a good one.
imagine you're a Bundy alumni.
Bundy alumni.
Yeah, just looking for you.
Well, whoever gets in on this one this time, there's gonna be stuff going on. I mean, if Hillary gets in, there's gonna be stink. But I think if Trump gets in, there'll be more stink and more disruption and more burning cars and more broke glass and.
Well, that's because
bitching.
Trump supports bringing in the police state. He supports nationalizing the police. So yeah, of course.
I know I'm out on that too. There's a lot of things the guy's got, but my God, Hillary, I mean, she'd like bulldozes him.
Go ahead, HC.
But she hates the freedom of speech deal. She hates anybody to be able to mouth at anybody.
Everybody should have flipped shit when they said that Homeland Security is going to run the elections or watch it or whatever the fuck they're
Yeah,
saying.
I sent that to my Secretary of State. Didn't hear Pete out of them.
Really?
There was elections.
Yeah, I want to talk to our county auditor. I know her through the local GOP, and I'm going to want to ask her about that, whether or not she's had any memos from Homeland Security or how that's going to affect her operation. It's
She'll
around
fry
here.
people. She'll fry everybody that's gone up against her. She'll fry Rand Paul, all of them. Everybody that questioned her. Amash and everybody that she'll go after. The guy from South Carolina, Gowdy. She'll go after all of them.
What's up with our boy Sessions?
Hadn't heard anything out of him. He's still standing behind Trump 100%.
Who's that other guy?
He's got his hands full right now. He's over the immigration. He's over the Immigration and Naturalization Committee. And he's got his hands full. I mean, my God, man, they're flooding the country with. And he can't do anything because Congress has lost their power. Sorry about that, G. You pushed my button.
No. I was asking fucking. This other guy was making some waves. That lawyer dude. What's his name? From South Carolina, I think. I forgot his name.
Go ahead, Tony. I lawnmowered you, man.
Go ahead, Tank.
No, I was just talking about. I turned on the news today when I got home. I was trying to check out the MVP thing, but I was on Fox first. I haven't had TV in like a year or two, and fucking Bill O'Reilly's on there grilling Joe Arpaio, talking about the Democrats are gonna win Arizona and this, that, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here! Like, are you fucking serious? I go down to Arizona. I'm in Arizona all the time, and almost everybody in that whole fucking state's got some type of gun sticker on the back of their car. Like, don't fuck around in Arizona. That's all I'm saying. Don't try to rob nobody in Arizona. Don't try to do no funny bunny shit because everybody's strapped up out there. I think I like it. I think it's like foreign though, like I feel weird about it when I'm down there. I feel like I'm like, out out of my habitat. I'm Nevada all the way through. I can go anywhere through this state and I feel at home. I go somewhere else and I just feel funny. What's up, Nugs?
Yeah, Nugs.
What's up?
So it's that same shit, different day.
Oh,
where'd he go?
Later,
back.
Doug.
He'll be back.
That's the way it is around here. Everybody's scared to do anything. Man, there's people that's just loaded down with breaking guns around here. I mean, if you hear something that goes on around here, it's in the bad part of like Birmingham or something like that, you know. But man, out in the little rural areas, you don't hear anything going on.
So what's happening in St. Louis?
Being cooked by radiation.
I was going to ask you about anything going on with that landfill fire.
Well, the thing is, James, a lot of people don't know this, is that didn't start last year. That shit started like fucking 20 years ago, man. I can remember them talking about that 20 years ago around here. That's when it started burning. I guess it's just recently reached toward, closer to the radiation.
I mean, are they putting any plan in place to actually do something about it?
They labeled it a conspiracy, and they don't talk about it around here. You don't hear no news about it, dude. It's hush hush. You can't even go over there. It's all access is all shut down. But the wastewater coming out of there isn't. You can go play in that if you want.
Yeah, so it glows a little bit. You glow when you go home, you know.
Right. You don't need glow in the dark sites anymore.
All the targets are glowing. I don't know, it's just like this shit with Zika or whatever. They're talking about they're spraying all these fucking chemicals over Florida, and then they're telling people to put on DEET. And then I saw a video where they said the combination of the pesticides they're spraying and the DEET combined together to make some kind of a neurotoxin
It's a
warfare. You know?
Yeah, binary poison, where if you put bug spray on you and you get their spray on you, it's a nerve agent.
Yeah, I did hear that, but I'll throw another one in the mix. What about all the core exit? Those people everybody's eating the fish from down there. That core exit is that shit's horrible, dude. It's horrible. I'm not even gonna get into it. Go look up the studies on it.
Another story that's they're not talking about.
Yep. And they're still spraying it. That's another thing too. They're still putting that shit out. Taxpayers are still buying core exit from the private companies that sold the core exit, or sell the core exit, which Halliburton was linked to. Or no, I'm sorry, wasn't it Halliburton sold all the cleanup equipment like 6 months before? Isn't that what it was? 6 months before the oil spill? So somebody made a lot of money.
Like they knew it was coming.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's like United Healthcare insurance companies complaining, well, we can't make any money, and they're blaming people's lifestyles and Obamacare and all this shit. And then the bottom line is they're saying more people are dying. They're probably the average age of mortality in the United States is dropping suddenly. So can't imagine why with all the bullshit they're feeding us.
That'll make them happy. Bill Gates is probably jumping up and down.
Yeah, morticians are happy.
Well, that's the thing, dude. People are fucking. I mean, what's that Stockholm syndrome? They literally think there's no way in hell the rich people of this planet got so bored that they literally just they've become mad scientists and they want to kill everybody off and have it for themselves. They think that's a delusion. They think that's a conspiracy, but yet these people write books and have press conferences and have fucking, like Bill Gates standing up there and saying you got to kill your grandma so we can keep those firefighters and policemen working. I mean, you can't fix stupid, man, unfortunately, and it's not going to get any better without, as our history shows, some type of violence.
Yeah, kill grandma so we can hire another teacher to train you to be a social worker.
Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. I don't know, but yeah, you guys were talking about water earlier. The CEO of Nestle was just fucking recorded in an interview saying that you have no human right to water.
That's insanity. I saw that too. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's fucking.
It's a commodity to them. It's a commodity. It's to be bought and sold.
Well, and it's control. It's the ultimate control.
Yes.
Really, if you think about it. Like philosophically, that is the ultimate control of all life on this planet is water.
Yeah.
That's the one link that fucking connects all of us.
Well said.
Hence the water meters on the wells in Nevada.
Exactly.
Well said, Max. Well said. Can't live without
keep you on the grid.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
and I've had a lot of you guys watch that water documentary, you know, where they even get into the scientists talk about how water has memory. They're still studying this. They just discovered this a few years ago. Water has memory. Water holds memory. A water molecule has a memory bank in it. They don't know what the fuck it says. They can't decipher it, but they know it's there. They can see it. You know, so why are they destroying the water of the planet? You know what I mean? Are they trying to destroy the collective memory? Because if you really get down to the philosophical thought of it, that's all the water that's in all your ancestors. That's the water that's been in all the animals. You know, it's recycled. You know, that's the lifeblood of the planet, really. Especially if it holds memory.
Hey, I knew the guy from Nestle was full of bull though when he started pushing GMOs. He said we've been eating GMOs for a long time and nobody's died from it. And I thought, okay, well this guy's really an idiot.
So black shirt.
Hey, what's up, Nugs? What's up, y'all?
What's up?
What's up, Charlie? How's everything, bro?
Same as normal, I guess.
Yeah.
Y'all watching that shit going down there in Brazil? Damn communists got the whole place tore all to hell.
What the fuck is going on now?
Impeachment process. They their president. She just left Brasilia yesterday, which is, I don't know if you know anything about Brasilia. You do a Google search, you recognize the architecture instantly. It's Brazil's fucked. Communists. I'm actually praying for the rise of another Augusto Pinochet down there.
Well, they got that Dilma Rousseff down there. They're wanting her back in. She's another Fidel Castro.
Yeah, it's all communists. If you watch RT's reporting down there, they don't mention any of it. But if you look at the banners that the sons of bitches are flying, it's all communists. Should B-52 strike that fucking place for 30 days. Nugs, he's pretty squared up on this shit. This is their push. They're going to make a push to unite this internationalism, and they're going to do it really shortly. And I mean, just talking at a turn, you have to forgive me. I've had a couple beers. You're going to see a shitload of riots building up on or before the election, November 8th. You're going to get cops getting shot again just around that shit. And then it'll chill out again like it did last year. And then once again, the spring will come and the spring fighting season starts. And they'll be out there raising hell again. But this is, if you can't see that this is communism, you ain't paying attention.
Well, they controlling them people with food down there. They won't even let them bring food back across the border.
That's
see what they, there's communists don't understand when they raise hell like that.
Hold on,
Ryan. Reaction.
Hold on, Nugs is going to say. Go ahead, Nugs.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing, man. Everybody believes communism died in the fucking 70s with the Soviet Union. It didn't. You know, it's very much alive and well and flourishing, actually. I mean, when you got fucking an entire generation walking around with Che Guevara t-shirts, not even understanding who the fucking cocksucker was, or Mao, or worshiping Mao and writing their theses on Mao and shit, what the fuck?
Hell, look at Hillary. She's already practicing. She wears her Mao outfit everywhere she goes.
Yeah, but you go back all the way to the 30s in Brazil, especially with that Vargas son of a bitch. That's, I mean, I don't know if any of you know about the 5 condors in South America. You know, Pinochet was what? Argentina, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and, well, Brazil. anytime you get a rise of communism, you're going to get a reactionary element, and that reactionary element, unfortunately, ends up being fascist. So it's like bad on both poles, and the people like us, the moderates, are caught in the middle. But if you can't recognize what the hell's going on, especially in the last 25 years, and you're just not paying attention to this shit. I'm scared to death for my kids.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. I don't think really they're not going to ignore us as targets anymore. You can see, dude, the middle class, they don't really give a fuck what color you are anymore. The middle class, if you're capable of critical thinking, if you're capable of looking around the world and judging everybody, don't judge books by their covers, and you realize that people are just people. If you can see that, you're scheduled for execution, because you can tell that they know it's like fucking the psychopaths don't like being seen, and they know we can see them. They don't like that.
Just look at history.
Well, they
Say,
look
look at
idiots
history
on-
with
they
the
look idiots-
Vietnam War. When it ended, they went through there and cleansed out all the intellectuals.
These little
There's
idiots
one
on
book.
college campuses, boy, they're in for a rude awakening, because it's gonna break weak on them, because that entitlement, raised to be entitled. We get this, we get that. This is gonna be handed to us. Oh, they're gonna take care of us. All that right there may come to a screeching halt.
And that's all in the Communist Manifesto. It's right there.
What's up, brother
Yeah, but
Warrior?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Welcome to the chat, brother. Welcome to the chat.
Warrior!
Warriors in the house. Tony and I are texting each other like, yo, hit up Warrior, hit up Warrior. Look, as soon as I look at the screen, here comes in.
It's like a ghost.
Albert
Yeah, right.
Pike's book, Morals and Dogma.
So what's going on, Warrior?
Oh,
What's
not
the
much.
fronts?
I missed you guys last week. I tried to get on, but I didn't see the
Yeah.
chat.
Well, last time you were on our chat, you just disappeared the whole night.
Well, no, last week you guys.
No,
didn't
no,
have-
no, but last week we didn't have one. I'm talking about the one that you came on 3 weeks ago.
Oh no, me and the guys were up on that one fucking all night long. We were up there
Oh, I
till
know.
like 3 in the morning. That was when you had that little thunderstorm, I think, G.
Yeah, I remember, though. I got wiped out. How's everything there, brother? Keeping everything straight?
Oh, of course.
Better work good?
Been going to the gym every day too.
Good deal. Tony, tell me, what's next? What are we on?
Shit, man. We just keep rolling. I was gonna say when we was talking about the kids thing, like that's really, I think that's what really got me the way I was or how I am or whatever, dude. Because I think about my kids. I think about, like, my dad took me to do all this shit when I was a kid, like all the spots I'm taking my kids to now are all fenced off, and you got to fucking pay a ranger to, there's all this shit. But I think, like, when I started and I was, doing call to arms videos, dude, I was doing call to arms videos before it was cool, before it was super illegal. And it was, it was because I think about my kids, dude. Like,
Same.
I know my dad is American, I know he's a patriot. I know how he feels, but I know damn for sure, like, him and my grandparents, I know they wouldn't have made a fucking YouTube video saying, look, it's go time, and
Right.
that's how I always thought, because, if some shit's gonna happen, let it happen to me. Let me be the fucking,
Like me, you, and Sarah Tony, let us deal with the bullshit.
I don't want my
That's the
daughter, my little girl. I don't want my little boy dealing with it. Even even if it comes when he's a man, it's not his fight. I mean, I
Right.
guess it's an obligation then, but still, that's my son. That's my daughter. And I got 2 boys and I got a girl. And I think to myself, why the fuck? Why should they have to
Deal with our shit.
Exactly. I mean, that right there, dude, I've always said since I started this channel, dude, especially my daughter, I would crack the fucking world in half like Hercules, bro, for these kids, like, I'm doing homework with my daughter last night, and I'm so fucking frustrated, and I'm just sick of everything. I'm so frustrated. I'm so sick of the homework they give these kids. you know, it's such bullshit. It's just dumb commie core bullshit, dude. That I flip out on my daughter, you know, and I'm like yelling at my daughter, and I'm trying to explain to her, and she's just a little girl, you know, and it's like, dude, I don't know, man. It's fucking frustrating. I would do anything for her. I would do anything for my sons, and it's been go time, and that's why I've always been the way I've been. Why everybody's always telling me, Tony, you're too over the line. You're too So now I've come up with this fucking plan to grab them, get my shit together outside of town, and run for the hills, more or less. You know, because there ain't nobody gonna meet me on the 50-yard line. I'm gonna stand out there by myself. I might not be butt naked, but I'm gonna be.
That's what I'm telling you.
Myself, you know.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
That's what's always.
That's why you and I wasn't trying to buck you back in the day. I wasn't trying to buck you. I always knew what the fuck you were talking about. I'm talking about some old shit back in the day. You know what I'm talking about.
But that's what's always drove me, man.
That's what I told you, brother. I wasn't trying to.
It wasn't even. I mean, yeah, I care about liberty. Yeah, I care about the Constitution. I care about, you know, the fundamentals and morals and being, you know, Christian, whatever the fuck you want. But
nobody cares, Joe.
Past all that, I care. I do. I am the way I am because of the kids.
Right.
It's not. I mean, I'd be honest. If it was all for the Constitution, if it was all for liberty, and no. I mean, yeah.
Nobody's got your back on that, bro. You'd be out there fighting birds.
Kids, dude. It's really, that's what's really drives me and makes me fucking angry and makes me say the things I say that I would never say on here. Never, because I can't. But I'm telling you right now, I think I could get away with saying this. All these motherfuckers deserve to have their heads on pikes. I mean, I think I could say that. I mean, that's how I feel about it, dude.
Well, it's only going to get better because they're going to the more trouble that goes on in Central South America. Everybody's flooding into the U.S. I mean, they're just going to compound the problem. And then Hillary, we're going to bring in 1 million more people. That's going to make things compound, make it even worse. And then all the communism spreading through the world. People don't want to live around that. They try to get out of it. Where are they coming? Well, they're coming here. Well, they're all hungry. Well, they all need somewhere to sleep.
Hillary is like the only Democrat lying. They don't even lie about it, dude. That fucking dickhead over in Virginia says we're giving all the voting rights back to all these felons, and we hope they vote Democrat. We know they'll vote Democrat. I mean, he says it in his fucking presser. He says, we're giving the voting rights back. I hope they vote Democrat. I know they'll vote Democrat. He says it in the fucking presser.
Because they're promising all of them another free nanny state. All free. Everything's free. Free, free, free.
But if somebody admits to you right in your face while chuckling that they're treasonous, I mean, do you lay down and take it? I mean, is that where we come? Is like, hey, I'm laughing at you, I'm telling you what I'm doing, and you're gonna take it. I mean, that's really what we've been doing.
Hey, Tony, I don't know if you remember, a while back you put out a call to arms video. You were like, all I need is 300 motherfuckers behind me. You remember that video?
299.
Okay, and remember, what did I do immediately after that?
You was number 2.
Exactly. So don't go out there saying you're going to be the only one. It may seem like we're far and few in between, but remember, it only takes a few men who are willing to bear the brunt force of this whole thing. Remember that. Never lose sight of that.
Yeah, but you know what lost me is like when I watched Lavoie and all them guys, regardless of how people agreed or disagreed how they did it, I seen that man's dead body in the pine box. That is kids. His kids built his goddamn casket. It was a pine box, and he was sitting there, and he was dead. And I seen that shit, and I said to myself, you know, okay, there's a couple thousand people here, good patriots, everything like that. But I don't know, man. I expected more outrage. I expected more people there. I just expected a lot more, man. And that shit was sad to see, you know. Like, I seen a dude like there was a line to view Lavoie's body, you know, and the guy in front of me is in a wheelchair. He's a Vietnam vet, and he gets up out of his wheelchair to salute Lavoie, and he fucking breaks down in tears. He could barely stand up out of his fucking wheelchair. Stands up and he's like, man, you're like, I've been to war and I fucking, I mean, he's talking out loud in front of everybody. I've been to fucking war and you were 5 times the patriot I am, you know? Can barely stand up, but he stands up out of his wheelchair, salutes Lavoie, and then me and my girl go next after that, dude. And I mean, we're fucking balling, dude. I mean, we're in the deal where all his kids are talking about him, and I mean, there wasn't a fucking better person than Lavoie. Like, you'd be hard pressed to find a better American than Lavoie. I mean, he lived by example. He set the example. His kids, the way they talked about him, you know, like, it didn't matter if he fucking busted his ass, worked all day. All his kids said the same thing. He took time to sit with each of us and read the gospel and this, that, and the other. And he always made time. He always fucking had time. That's all he did, was make sure that he made time for his kids, and that he made sure that the kids knew, you know, the teachings of Jesus Christ and the Constitution and all that, you know? It's like
that story Tony that said when me and 10 Round, I guess we had a lot of chat. We opened up the tavern for it.
Bro, me and 10 Round are sitting there.
I know. No, hold on.
Bro.
I know, bro. I was on the phone with you. You, Tracy, 10 Round. I know, brother. Shout out to you, brother Trace. Always come through. But fucking the story was when fucking he was like, you know, he always was holding them, blah, blah, blah. And then the kids were like, you know, the one time where he fucking needed us, we couldn't fucking hold him. Or I couldn't remember the story word for word, but that fucking made me fucking cry just listening to it. 10 Round fucking said it. He read it word for word. It was fucking, I don't know if you can remember, but.
Yeah, but that, to me, that's like,
that was a sad fucking
that's the, what is that? That's the reward for being a patriot? Or that's...
Yeah. He knew he was going to go, bro. He knew he was.
That is the reward. I mean, a lot of us get on here and we make it seem like it's some glorious thing, but all of the people who signed that Declaration of Independence were considered traitors the moment they signed it. They were hunted by the British Crown to the day they died. In the War of 1812, when they came back over here to try to fight us again, they attempted to find all those people again. It's not an easy thing. It's a long and hard and fucked up road. And dying cold and alone, ambushed by people who are supposed to probably take care of you, that's a patriot's reward. That's a true patriot's reward.
And he even told the motherfuckers what he was doing. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, I totally agree. I totally understand that. But if it's in vain, then what is it? You know, it's like, I feel like Lavoie, for who he was and how I know him and how I came to know him and everything like that, I expected more. I expected more from patriots. I expected more from the country. You know, that...
We would all want more, right? We look at our whole society and we would expect more. But the thing is, as I see us in this, quote, patriot movement, we're not organized. When we say what we want to see, we lack that because we're not organized. We lack that because we don't have as many leaders. We have some leaders stepping up. I mean, the Bundys are great leaders, but we have very few leaders. We don't have as many George Washingtons and guys like that now. You know, we don't have the organization that they eventually had back then. We talk about, oh, we have these little groups here and there, but how many of these groups are actually talking about doing something? How many of these groups are actually coming together and actually still really training on this shit?
No, don't take it offensively or anything like that, but you're going to have to admit that the ideas of civic nationalism are wholly transparent and fake. The only way to, in my opinion, to change this is for the states to stand up as individual states and secede. And that'll do one of two things. You know, you're not going to leave the Union. We've already been through that 150 years ago. You're not going to leave the Union. But what it will do is show that the rest of the populace that there are individual states standing up and declaring their sovereignty again. But the idea of defending the Constitution at this point is a waste of your blood. The only thing you should be worried about right now is the Bill of Rights. The Constitution's gone. It's been gone since the end, 1865, never to return again.
Yeah, they crushed the Constitution.
You have two places right now. The first step, and this is the legal way to go about it, is you have Article 5 States Convention, and whatever comes from that determines whether or not the states secede. And I think personally, if the economy pops, Texas is going to be the first to do it. And if Texas does it, you're going to get a chain reaction. The problem of the matter is, with all these international enemies we have now because of weakness in the White House, is if we do secede and disintegrate the Union, more than likely you're going to get an international presence in the United States, and then it's on. But it's going to have to get way worse than it is now. People are going to have to be starving. They're going to have to be homeless. It's the only way. It was the same way in the Revolution. It's going to be no different. It's the nature of Western people in the first place. We take shit. I mean, the Ottoman Empire and the invasions into Western Europe. It took us 300 years before we decided to stand up for ourselves. So it's nothing new. I mean, revolution is cyclical, but the ideas of the republic and things like that, unfortunately, you're going to have to admit to yourself that it's gone, never to return. So we're going to have to start identifying our state constitutions as, the supreme. It's just the way it is.
I agree with that.
Most of the states' constitutions are modeled pretty much identically to the regular Constitution.
Yeah, ours is. I think our first 10 amendments are the same as the Bill of Rights here.
Exactly. The only difference is
Tennessee.
it's like whether or not you have the right to fuck your horse or not. I mean, it's
You look at the first two articles.
If you look at certain states, it's different.
Well, yeah, so I was saying the state of Tennessee, if you look at the first two sections in Article 1, it plainly states all kinds of things. One of the things about obeying, unfounded authority, not questioning authority is slavish and absurd. The whole idea about flying the national flag above the state is incorrect anyway. I mean, we were talking about this other night, Saint and Nugs, about the gold fringe and things. I mean, when did that come into play? It wasn't until after the end of the Civil War.
Right.
There's a lot of unfinished questions from the Civil War. Are the states sovereign? The Bill of Rights says they are by the 9th and 10th Amendments. The states are sovereign. They rule themselves. But you look at 1838 when the Supreme Court delegated upon itself to be the last authority in constitutional questions, which is not constitutional. The states, the creators of the Constitution, the creators of the federal government are the ones with the last say in constitutional affairs. But again, the Constitution, love it as we do, the only use the Constitution can't stand up and defend us. We stand up and defend it. That's right.
Paul Craig Roberts said the Constitution's already gone. I mean, he did.
Well,
all of them gone but the first and second, and he said, get out and try to protest now and watch what happens with your First Amendment. And they said, everybody's got guns at home, but if you get out in public with them, what happens? You get gathered up, or you get questioned, or Paul Craig Roberts said it's gone. Said the Constitution's already gone. It's null and void. And Congress ain't got any power. I mean, the executive branch and Supreme Court's taking it over. They don't have any say-so. They've been castrated.
I got to revert back to what happened with Benjamin Franklin after they signed the Declaration of Independence. When he came out of the courthouse, the old woman asked him. Everybody knows this story. What did you give us, sir? A republic, ma'am, if you can keep it. Nobody.
That's a myth. That never happened. That's a myth. They were violating the Constitution before the ink was dried. The Whiskey Rebellion, Doors and Shays Rebellion in New York. They've been violating the Constitution ever since it was written. It's been a non-binding. It's supposed to be a binds and chains on the government. It never has been. It's basically been weaponized and used against the people as an absolute authority. That's why I'm insisting. The only way to minimize this government is for the states to secede, and the only way the states can secede is that they group together. But as long as we're coming at these special interests, we'll never group. It'll never happen. So the only thing that's going to be able to make us change things is going to have to get fucking horrible. Excuse the profanity, but that's just what it's going to have. We're going to have to watch our kids starve. We're going to have to watch our societies disintegrate, which we're watching right now.
Yeah, it's gonna get
I mean,
horrible.
it's
It's
gonna
coming. It's coming.
It has to. But I'm not. I don't look at it with sorrow. I don't look at it with a heavy heart. I look at it with happiness. I look forward to the society collapsing. I look forward to the economic collapse. I look forward to all these things, because then the cream's going to rise. Those that can't tolerate the fire will be incinerated. Those that can will be reborn. I mean, any Christian here can totally identify with these things in baptism of fire. But this is the way it's going to be. There's not going to be any soft victory. This is to the death. And like I had mentioned earlier in the chat, if you cannot recognize international communism at work right now in all the world, not just the United States, you're blind. But
I feel the same. I feel the same way about people that are vowing to vote for Trump and thinking that one man's going to fix this international crime syndicate.
He won't fix it. Retarded long enough for us.
One person.
It ain't going to do shit unless we fucking, like you said. I agree 100%. Declare our 10th Amendment. Like you stated, you're exactly right. That is about the only thing we fucking have left.
Right.
And another thing is the Bill of Rights. It's an idea. It doesn't matter. It's just a fucking piece of paper, but it's an idea. It's the idea that they tried to fucking create. That's not a myth. That's still in people's hearts like mine. And there's still people like me that are willing to fight for that idea.
That's true. That's true.
The thing about it is the basic premise behind rights. You only have rights when you have access to force to enforce your rights. If someone has more force than you, then you have no rights.
You only have rights when you can articulate your rights. You have to know your rights. You have to articulate your rights.
Articulation of rights is through the use of force and the access and threat thereof. You have no rights unless you have overwhelming force of the person willing to determine that. It's always that way from time immemorial, and it'll be that way until long after we're gone.
It gets into where that's where you have to have a moral society with good morals and yada yada yada.
No, you have to have a well-balanced society. You have to have the well morals, but you also have to have the teeth.
Why do you think they're pushing this multiculturalism, though? Multiculturalism does one thing. It destroys the idea of unity.
Dude, it goes back to the idea, man. I know. You're right.
This stuff is this is far older than 237 years. This is a struggle. It's as old as civilization in itself, and it's always been an argument between the populace and the priesthood. Yeah, I know I'm getting a little esoteric with you, but the questions that we're dealing with now are ancient. It's nothing new. Generations have dealt with this for millennia, and it'll continue. That's the reason I say, don't be distressed. Don't be frustrated. That's the psychological part of this game. When you're frustrated and angry, you are little to no use to your family or your people. Right now, what we need to do is, and I know we're all mouthy. I'm one of the mouthiest ones in this room. What we need to do is shut up right now. What we need to do is get our head down to the grindstone, start preparing for the future, because we know it's coming. Doesn't matter who gets in the White House, I'll admit that. I'm hoping with Trump that he'll retard the acceleration of this long enough that we can get dug in enough to be able to deal with it. But don't let it burn you down. Don't get black-pilled because you're useless to your family. Just get prepared for what's coming. Those that dig in and prepare now and get their families psychologically prepared for what's coming in the very near future. I expect it next year.
Charlie,
they're going to be the ones that are going.
Charlie, with all due respect, how long you been listening to us?
Probably about
how long?
Going back to Dragon, probably about 3 years now.
Exactly. And we damn well ain't gonna shut up. And two, we've been prepping, brother, and we've been preaching for a long time. Now,
what I'm saying,
I know
if you get arrested, you're of no use to your family.
That's why we dodge bullets, my brother. We dodge bullets.
We should not organize amongst our peers and things. We should prepare our families. When the heat comes, when the fire comes, those of us that are willing to stand will do it. We won't need to message one another. We'll meet each other on the street. Believe me, it's coming.
Absolutely.
I have no fears that America is going to disappear off the face of the earth. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And the reason I know it's not going to happen because of the institutions that were founded in this country beyond the federal government. The institutions of church, the institutions of family will outlive this nation and carry on beyond. It'll be in a different form, but it'll still exist. But again, not to keep harping over and over again, don't let it blackpill you. Don't let it get you frustrated. Don't let it get you angry. That's what this is meant to do, is to get you all the fuck up, get you all tore up so you can't think and organize and do what you have. But the idea of protest and the idea of civic involvement, withdraw. Just get ready for what's coming.
Yeah, I never been much on protesting. That's what I said. If you see me down there with a mask, it ain't cause I'm down there protesting.
Well, like I said before, those who make, peaceful revolution impossible are going to make violent revolution inevitable. Everybody should be preparing. If you're not, you're fucking dumb and you don't understand what's coming.
Hey, I will say one thing, and I put myself out on a limb saying this. I know there's a bunch of cops that ain't looking forward to this going around doing this shit that's coming down. They're not. They really don't want to start going around having to confiscate this, confiscate that, because they know they're going to meet resistance, and they might not make it back home to lovey-dovey and the kids themselves.
Well, the thing about it is, if this ever does break down into a civil conflict, it's not the police that need to worry about their safety. The police need to worry about their family's safety. Look at any civil conflict in Western Europe and look what happens to the authorities. The authorities themselves are eventually hanged, but who gets killed first? It's their families. I don't want that.
They did it in Ireland, dude. They wouldn't drug women.
Who gets killed first is the people that speak the loudest, who are
Yeah.
From what I hear, though, and I heard this today, and I think I heard it yesterday and a couple days ago, these schools are bringing in fucking UN observers and a whole bunch of other motherfuckers because they don't have faith in the police and all these other fuckers execute the duties that they're going to be, the orders that they're going to be given. So I'm hearing, and I didn't really see no video. I've been seeing little hit and miss videos, but UN observers and foreigners to, I guess, restore balance or hold whatever the fuck they think they're going to hold in place. They don't have no faith in the police and the military to carry out, this treason against us. I don't think they have any faith in the military or law enforcement.
No, they got to get somebody from somewhere else that hadn't got any loyalty to the U.S.
They understand that anytime that there's going to be something like this, there are going to be people who side with them and there's going to be people who side against them. All they're doing is reinforcing their numbers. That's it. They're going to have some of the cops here. They're going to have some of the military here who follows orders. How much? We don't know. They don't know.
That's the reason Obama has a military purge for this last 8 years. He's purging out those that possibly would be involved in a coup against him. And so that comes. But that's the reason I'm saying that to be involved in, and it's not cowardice. Listen, it's pragmatism. Listen to what I'm saying.
Well, we agree with you, Joel. You're spot on. We agree with you.
Our families are more important in this fucking country. Okay? I know you guys don't want to hear that, but that's the facts. Civilization is based on the family unit, and they're trying to destroy the family. So what we should do is prepare our families for what's coming. You have to be pragmatic about this. And when I mean withdrawal, it's not to save your own skin. When I say withdrawal, it's to protect your families. It's what it comes down to. Listen, anybody's ever found...
You're not going to withdraw and leave your family. I totally agree. You're not going to withdraw and leave the fam at home and just get out by yourself, but you are definitely going to grab up your family and disappear from everybody else.
No doubt.
That's what I've done. I bugged out 12 years.
Your family be drug off either, like they were talking about, if they want you, they go to the schools and get your kids and then hold your kids, and then when you get there, they get you too.
Yeah.
Well, your children aren't your own. I hope you recognize this. The state's already said this, and the state being the federal government. Your children are not yours. They're theirs. They're being indoctrinated. Well, they're being indoctrinated into the system in the way of understanding now with this genderless, multiculturalist hell that they're creating through the public education system. I mean, in certain states, they're actually asking kids to rat their parents out for things. That's the reason I say
communism, dude.
And I've talked about getting out now. Okay, I mean, we can see that the device is being turned, and our heads in the vice, and they're turning that motherfucking handle, and it's getting tighter. And they're not gonna loosen up the vice. They're not gonna relinquish power. We're not gonna like vote, and then all of a sudden they're gonna be like, well, you know, they voted for change, so we're gonna give them the change that they want. The screws are only going to be turned tighter. So the only option, what's up?
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, the only option you have is to get out. I mean, we're watching the goddamn tornado, hurricane, earthquake, whatever come right at us. You get out now. You get out now. You save your family. You know, I mean, that's my plan. I know people got plans with other people and they got their crews together and everything. I don't got that, you know. I got me and I got my family. We think alike, and it's time to get out now. Yeah. Not later, but now. It's time to get out now, and that's my solution, because I've always tried to come up with solutions for all these problems, and there is no more solutions. That is the only solution left on my list. When they started talking about fucking putting meters on water, I said, damn, them motherfuckers must have been watching my chats. They know what the fuck I want to do. You know,
the thing is, though, you know, unless we stand collectively, and I don't just mean the United States, I mean humanity, against what's, you know, all this attack on humanity, then we're not going to win anything. You're not going to outrun it. I know people that say they're going to buy a sailing boat and they're going to they're going to sail around the ocean and they're going to fucking move out into the woods and do this and that. You're not going to outrun this shit.
No, you're right, man. That's what me and Sam and Tim, we were talking about that the last 3 fucking months, you know. You got to stand together. We can't be fucked anymore. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. When you
it's just gonna get worse. We know
when it comes. Our that's the reason. Again, I'm not trying to be Mr. Sally Sunshine.
We agree, bro. We all agree.
We can't stop what's coming. You cannot stop it. It's going to come. This shit's been going on for 150 years now. They've been developing this shit. I mean, if you read Albert Pike's book, Morals and Dogma, 1873, the son of a bitch talked about the First World War, the Second World War, and the Third World War in 1873. If you read this book, you'll think this guy's a fucking prophet. But he's not a prophet. He's not a magician.
If you've been listening for 3 years, you've heard me quote out of the book then.
I know. That's the reason I mentioned it. That's the reason I'm saying.
To me, though, I'd rather have my back up against the wall out in the fucking boonies than have my back up against the wall here.
Hey, Blackshirt, man, that's what I tell everybody, dude. I'm not about to, you know. My plan is to get my family safe, and then I go find a war. I'm not, you know, that's my first priority. So you're 100% right, dude. I agree 100%. That's why I wouldn't have gone personally to go fight for the Bundys in Arizona or fucking up in Oregon, because I got to protect my family. That's first and foremost. You know, you don't.
And you know, it's going to be conspiratorial, but you know, I have no evidence or source or anything to provide you with facts. It's just a gut, but there's a nuclear exchange in our future, our very near future.
At least an EMP, at the very least an EMP. And I believe I'm 100% with that, dude. There's a lot of top experts, smarter than everybody in this room, that are saying the same fucking thing. I don't think they're all wrong.
The way we're pressing up on Russia right now, and Russia being what it is, it has a strong military, but it pales in comparison to the United States military might. And the only means of it evening the odds is the exchange of a nuclear weapon. More likely, the thing where I don't think it'll be done, it'll be done by a nation state through an agent. And what I mean by that, it'll probably be done in the guise of some Islamic jihadist or some shit like that.
Well,
but it's coming.
Hypothetically, North Korea just got their fucking submarines to launch ballistic tip nuclear missiles out of the ocean. So what if they, you know, hypothetically, they could launch one off the coast of California over our atmosphere, set it off, and they know they don't have to have an exchange of nuclear weapons with us to take us out. They know all they need is one EMP over our country, and we're all fucked. For what do they say, 3 years to get the grid back up?
Dude, they've telecast that shit for fucking forever, through video games, through movies, all that kind of shit. With North Korea will be the, you know, the proxy motherfuckers that'll do this and do that. I mean, because unless you know, Russia or China or one of these superpowers outright, you know, makes the attack, if they use somebody like any of these other little sorry fucks, we don't end the world completely. You know what I mean? I mean, if China or Russia flat out launched us.
Well, North Korea is the tail of the dog for China. Anytime China gets pissed off the United States, North Korea rattles its saber. North Korea is a pissant. They're no threat to us. Absolutely no threat to us. The threat to us is in this country. You don't need to look across the oceans to find the enemy. The enemy is among us. It's here. It's these sons of bitches that they've taken. It's one of the 45 communist declared goals to take over the academic institutions and therefore educate the next generation to the ideas of communism, to break down the commercial barriers and capitalism and commerce in order to do business with communists. I mean, all these things to create unrest, civil unrest in minority populations in the United States to cause a civil conflict. This is shit. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's the reason I seem so calm on talking about this. After you read this shit for a while, you start accepting it. But even the communist agenda, this guise that we see right now, is only the tip of the iceberg. It's not the seen, it's the unseen.
Brother Charlie, let people finish. Brother Charlie, let people finish, bro, because he was still talking.
I got
when you tracked him. I don't know if you guys you can't hear him, but try to let people finish.
I got you, but just to apologize to anybody I do step on, I got satellite dish and I'm up in the Appalachian Mountains, so I got about probably 10 seconds latency. That's the only reason I step. I'm not trying to be rude to anybody.
No, I know you know. Tony, you want to finish what you were saying? Or you good?
No, I'm good. Me and HD are just really just going off.
What's HD saying? You know, I haven't heard from HD all night.
Dude, it's funny because we got what fucking 8 of us in here. I think that, or 7 of us in here. Well, HD sitting here, so 8.
HD.
And it sucks. In a way, it sucks because we're really just echoing this. We're just, dude, we're fucking piggybacking everything that all of us say. I mean, nobody in here is not in agreement. You know what I mean? And that kind of sucks.
Everybody's just saying it in a different way.
Well, no, I mean, we're all on the same page. And it's,
right,
it goes back to just fucking talking in the mirror or talking to the wall. I mean, because, I mean, you guys ain't trying to convince me, and I'm not trying to convince you. We're trying to convince these motherfuckers watching. So it's like,
or the ones that aren't watching, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's silly in a way because like we all know. I'm in agreement with Black Shirt there. I'm in agreement with everybody on this panel. Nobody on this panel has said anything that I was like shaking my head at.
I think what it comes down to, there's more people that espouse the very same ideals that we have. They're just not as courageous. And I'm not saying we're big ballsy, men. That's not what I'm saying.
No, you're right, Charles. You're right, Charles.
People are for instance, like people working for a state and federal government, right? I know a lot of these people. And my dad worked for the Interior Department for 22 years. A lot of these people have the same ideas. The problem is, if they speak out, they lose the income that provides for their family.
Exactly.
And you have to look at it.
They walk on eggshells and they gotta suck cock every day. Correct.
But they're not sucking up. What they're doing is the smart thing. They're preparing themselves. They keep going to work. They keep a low key profile. They don't make fucking noise, and they wait for the hammer to fall. There's a lot more that have these opinions than we believe.
I agree with all that, but I also understand that sometimes you have to make the hammer fall. And I understand that the people who make the hammer fall may sometimes fall in doing so, but that's also a cost of liberty at times.
It's all determined how you define liberty. Sometimes liberty is just the life, preserving your life.
True that. I think liberty is an endless battle of good versus evil.
That's why I say that it goes from the birth of civilization, and it'll never end. It'll constantly be a cycle of light and dark. Again, sorry for the esotericism. It's just
I
behind all the
we're all like-minded people, brother. We all agree with you, bro. I told you, bro.
But from the time from immemorial, the kings were never the power. It was the priesthood behind the kings, and that's still the way it is today. It's not the people that you see like, oh, this Hillary Clinton, she's a monster. Oh, this Trump, they're figureheads. They mean nothing. They are the
She's a fucking
I'll even use the term. the archons put these people out front for a particular reason because they get hanged. The other ones don't. But they'll never disappear, and this will be a constant struggle. It's just, it's not, you can't choose the time in history that you were born, but accept it. And pessimism is brave. It's not defeatism. It's brave.
And see, the thing I think most people don't understand about it is, even if we go through this hard fight and somehow, miraculously, like we should, we prevail, this is a fight that's going to continue until the end of time. Just like it's always been, it will always be. It's not an easy fight. It's not something you win. You won't ever win the war. You can win the battles. Yeah, we won the battle when we got the Declaration of Independence and made a new nation. Okay, we won a battle. But no, this thing is going to keep going forever. And it's going to be a tiresome fight.
Warrior, you might as well answer the question being you're rolling. Joseph Cooper said, Warrior, what is your battle strategy if it all goes to hell?
As of right now, I'm getting myself in shape. Me and my guys are training up every month. We have a standard operating procedure for securement of our loved ones, and we have a tactical plan to assess the situation and find targets of opportunity in which will indicate the most results for our efforts.
There you go, Joseph. If anyone else has any questions out there, next time. I don't think anyone would have a problem.
Let's go. And having a self solution is not a defeatist attitude. I've said some things and people are like, "Oh, you sound defeated," and I'm like, "No, I'm adapting. I'm coming up with a solution when everybody's not on team. Let's go fuck some shit up and take this country back. You fall back and like Blackshirt said, what started me on this was my kids. When I figured out, when I fucking pulled my head out of my ass and I wasn't a leftist no more. It was all for the kids. It was for my kids.
You're just being real, yo. You're being real. That's it. You're being realistic. You're being real.
So I'm just falling back to where I started, really. Me, myself, and my family.
Right.
And that's not a defeatist attitude, I don't think. I think it's just, I've always tried to look for, if there's a problem, I try to look for a solution. You can't lay down and get run over. If there's a fucking bill, if there's a bill and the bill gets and the power gets cut off, you got to fucking figure out, well, how the fuck am I going to get the money? I ain't got no money in my pocket right now. I need to come up with the money. I need to get this fucking power back on. And that's how I think about just everything in general. Like, okay, the whole world's a shit. Nobody's united. I started out caring about my family. I didn't stop caring about my family. So let's roll with it, I'm not going to sit here and fucking worry about the Oath Keepers and the 3%ers and the militia. And this. Everybody's hiding the fuck out.
Exactly. You got to worry about your family. What's in front of you?
Because there ain't no way. It was even when I was on deployment. You can't fucking concentrate if the family back home is not taken care of. You're out there. I'm fucking out in the med. And I'm thinking to myself, well, fuck, I got this and that and this and that to take care of. I can't do nothing. I'm in the middle of the fucking nowhere,
Exactly.
Your head is fucked up. If shit is not okay at home, your head is fucked up. You can't do your job. That's the bottom line. I'm buying phone cards.
You're right.
The phone cards at sea are fucking they're $1 a minute. Okay, and maybe it's more now, but when I was in, it was $1 a minute. So I buy $20, buys me 20 minutes to take care of everything back on shore. And if everything doesn't get taken care of in that 20 minutes, I can't fucking do what I gotta do because, we ain't got fucking. We had email, but they shut it down. We're on deployment. You can't fucking focus. You can't do what you're supposed to do. You can't complete the fucking mission because you're worried about back home. And that's the same. It goes for I think it goes the same thing for now. If your family is not taken care of, if the people that you're living and breathing for and fighting for are not taken care of, there's no way your head is going to be in the fight.
Hey Tony, have you ever seen that movie The Patriot?
Yeah. Yeah. I got it on Blu-ray.
All right, so you guys understand, like, that was the whole thing with him, you know? They went and they did their thing, and then eventually their families were targeted, and they had to go and rescue their families. Well, after that, all they could do was position their family with allies and then continue the fight. You know, the whole we're going to get our family together and get out and all this stuff, that's a great for the first swipe. Nobody wants to get taken out in the first retaliation back. But there has to be a long-term plan, because you and just a couple people at your family ranch out in the middle of the sticks, all it takes is a fucking infantry platoon to roll through. I mean, all of them are trained. You're going to have women, children, and kids.
Bring it.
Well, the thing about it, if there is any kind of,
Be a drone
YouTube is
strike.
Brother Sam.
with martial law. Let me tell you something about martial law. Number one, the only way they can actually lock the country down is if an international presence was in the United States, which is a likelihood. But secondarily, it would still be confined to the major cities, the major population centers. Those of us back in the middle of the holler really are not going to have to worry about it. I'm not saying you're not going to worry about this, that, and the other thing, but the idea of, troops running up on you is pretty fucking slim.
Well, some of us
Again,
are just more prepared than others. That's all Snap was just trying to say.
You got to also realize, yes, they primarily operate where there's the most populations, but they always run long range reconnaissance patrols all out through the sticks. If you're not doing that, you're not doing your job. It's
Not just that, but you got to. I know Black Shirt's educated, so I know he knows Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. You're not meant to live in them woods, bro. They will come after you.
No, that's why they want to get you out of there. Hey, I do want to say something about nuclear, though. If you truly believe nuclear is going to happen, you probably need to prepare as best you can, because there ain't nobody coming to save you. Military got their scorched earth policy. When it goes nuclear, everybody's on their own. Nobody's coming to save you. There'll be no rescue.
Amen.
Yeah, everybody should learn as much as they can about radiation.
I mean, it's kind of grim, but you may want to put a disclaimer on this chat that if you're prone to having a panic, to either turn it off or prepare for a panic attack, because it gets pretty intense.
Warning. And I want to ask a question of everybody in the panel, because there's a lot of brains in here about certain things. About preparing for radiation exposure, in particularly water purification, as far as radiologic. How?
What is it? Triple osmosis, I think, is the only way.
You've got to distill it, because once it gets, if it's really hot, even the waters.
I'm talking about particulates.
It'll radiate the water.
That's what I'm worried about, is the particulates.
Yeah, anything that's in the water, that's the only way you can get it, is to get like distilled water that you can check it with a total density, total dissolved solid meter that reads 0, because anything in it, it'll probably be irradiated. And the first time it rains and it washes all the radiation down into the waterways, you won't be able to get any water out of the streams and creeks and stuff like that. It'll all be hot.
Most of the rainwater will be hot too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the ground will be contaminated, but all your water sources, all your returns, springs, streams, rivers, water points will all be contaminated then.
And there's always, you can always get more water from human resources. People, agencies, stockpiles that have clean water that they have in surplus, well, those are targets then.
Yeah, PG said find and download Nuclear War Survivor Skills, Oak Ridge National Laboratory. So print it out or buy the book.
Well, I got a link for a book I think everybody in here would find interest. Give me a second, I'll post it.
But I'll tell you, if we go at it with the Russians, they're not going to fight to lose. If they pick a battle with the Russians, you're going to be dealing with everything. And I know I've said it before. You're not only going to be dealing with nuclear, you're going to be dealing with chemical and biological, because the Russians are big on chemical warfare and they didn't destroy their stockpile like the U.S. did. And they're big on biological because years ago, when they were going all over the world, everywhere there was a sickness, and they had their scientists working on these cocktails of a mixture of Ebola and yellow fever and tetanus, typhoid, and all that, making these super concoctions super deadly. You think Zika viruses scare you?
I wouldn't even want to be in that state. I wouldn't even want to be in that state.
Well, the United States didn't get rid of its NBC stocks. The only thing it did is with advancement in technology, they didn't have to keep as much on hand. And if you look at the UN treaties as far as NBC and experimentations with that, as so long as it's done within the confined borders of the nation state, it's legal. So the idea that the United States...
They eliminated a big part of their chemical stockpile because they built two incinerators. Yeah, they built two incinerators. They built one here and they built one in Utah, I think.
It's like they were talking about they were reducing our nuclear arms count. And the thing is, no, they're not reducing the count. Technological advancements allow, individual units to be more, have a higher yield. So it wasn't necessary to keep that much on stock.
Well,
I don't trust.
Russia's up their nuclear game because they've got their nuclear trains back up and going again, and they're upgrading all their bunkers and stuff.
But everything that Putin has done in the last 10 years has been defense of the nation. Like, instead of building and updating their nuclear submarines and their aircraft carriers, they sacked them and they created shore batteries instead.
Right.
Russia's not building up to attack a country. Russia is building up to defend itself. That's the reason I'm no Putin fan. Don't get me wrong, but you watch a foreign military's activity and it'll plainly tell you what Russia's doing. They're planning to defend themselves. And what it comes down to is these neocons. These neocons plan. I mean, look, they make this big deal, all this shit, with Hussein having all these, NBCs and all this shit, and then you go look what the hell. That nuke deal with Iran, and now we got a missile defense, so-called missile defense system in Eastern Europe, which is no fucking defense system. It's all offensive in capabilities. There are 500 km tacticals out there, and Putin, if you go to RT or you go to Russian, I forget what the hell the one Russian, not Pravda, but I can't remember. It's like basically the proletariat paper, but they plainly state, the United States is, trying to usher in a war. These neocons are going to get us all killed.
They're poking the bear. They are.
Well, the thing is, too...
What was that, Max?
I was going to say, the thing is, too, I believe China's the bigger threat to Russia, not us, and I think Russia knows that. Russia probably will commit all of their assets to fight us. I guarantee. Well, they like you just said, Pravda admitted last week that they got like fucking 500,000 troops, or well, no, it wasn't 5, it was 50,000. I'm sorry, Russian troops here, or half of that, 25,000, whatever. There's a lot of them here already under fucking some kind of national fucking agreement for FEMA.
That's where you see what's going on in the Aleutians now. The Russians are mustered their troops to Islands, which is like 50 miles up the coast of Alaska. That's not a means for invasion of the United States. Russia is building up to defend herself because she's afraid these neocons are coming.
My point is, though, that China's made way more provocative statements than Russia has, as like, hey, there's no way in hell we're going to avoid a war with the United States, stuff like that, or we're going to be at war with the United States in the next couple of years. I mean, they're making all kinds of crazy statements. I believe it's really China that we're going to have to worry about as the bigger threat. I mean, what was that movie that they got pissed about? The Chinese, they were there, and no, it was Red Dawn 2.
Red Dawn,
yeah, Chinese is disciplined, dude.
The Chinese got pissed. Yeah, they got pissed because they made that movie that the Chinese invaded, and they had to change it.
So they changed the North Koreans, which in my mind is the same.
Well, don't think if we pick it with Russia that they won't get some nukes inbound, because they will.
And they both got them. They both got them, right, Seth?
Strikes. We will not be 100% effective in stopping all their nuclear cruise missiles from coming in.
And Seth, they're bigger than us, right, Seth? China's is bigger than us.
Well, they don't know what Russia's got. Russia's kept a good secret, but you can bet your bottom dollar as much hacking of Hillary's server as they've done, they got a pretty good idea what we've got.
And that's it right there. We had the leap on them on missile technology. We had the hypersonic, supersonic missiles.
Yeah,
They did.
we
Now
had.
they all have that, and they have actually better ones probably than ours.
Yeah, by
But that-
negligence or by purpose, they got it. Either her being negligent
But
or
both
doing
of
it
them.
on purpose, they got it.
But Sap, both of them got it though, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
China's been also developing satellite killer technology too, and what is the United States military wholly dependent on?
Yeah, that's the reason Russia's going back and learning how to use all the old manual mortars and manual port observers and fire direction control. They're not using they're training their men how to use the old equipment because technology is too vulnerable to attack now.
I remember the days carrying an atropine injector in my my mask bag. I remember those days. The 80s were really fucking interesting.
Yes, sir. That and amyl nitrate poppers throw in your mask in case you get hit with blood agent. Wearing the detector paper on your sleeve to tell you what kind of agent and a chemical detector set you had to put all that crap in, shake it up to see what you got sprayed with, and yeah.
Those litmus tests they used to issue us too. The thing is, you kind of find out 20 years later that litmus test was a carcinogen. He handled that shit with bare hands. Jesus Christ! I'd like just to know what agents I was injected for the damn storm.
Yeah, I don't know what's coming next, but there's a storm coming.
But again, I mean, I'm not depressed by it. It's got to happen. It's only going to benefit us.
Well, when you hit the bottom, you know, they say when you hit the rock bottom, you know, the only way to go is up. So
My problem is you got a lot of people out there that know this is going to happen, and they're ready for it to happen, and they're almost hoping for it to happen, like probably some of us. I ain't going to lie, I get pretty pessimistic sometimes. But when it does happen, what are they going to replace it with? What are they going to place our system with? There's a lot of people out there that don't even know their rights, don't even know what basic human rights should have been or was supposed to be under the original intent. You know, the intent of it. They're willing to throw away basically the only system of government. Granted, it has tons of flaws, but it could be fixed, in my opinion. But they're willing to throw that away. The only system of government in the last 5,000 years that we know of, 10,000 years, to ever give humans at least a resemblance of basic human rights. You know, the God-given right, something you're born with. No other system of government has ever done that.
well,
I agree with that, but all human systems will fail. All of them will fail, and one of the reasons is because there's part of the equation that people refuse to add in to get the sum, and that equation is the human condition. Until you create a system that takes in the human condition, it'll always fail.
I agree with it to a point, but I also disagree with it. So I don't know, like, because dude, that's why the founders wrote so much about having morals and a good society, a God-fearing society. You know, you could go on and on about it. They knew if you had a corrupt, devil-worshiping society or an atheist society, there was no liberty. It would never work. You know, so I don't know. Granted, they made a lot of flaws when they wrote it, but they also are the only system of government to even look what it built. There's no other form of government that would have ever built what we have today. The whole world has been changed by our country.
Well, capitalism is a large part of that. It's the reason I'm somewhat distressed when I hear these kids talk negatively about capitalism, because what they know is capitalism isn't capitalism. It's not true free market. It's communism. But as far as, you know, human systems, I'll never have any faith in human systems. And that's part of the reason religions have God as a king. Even the Jews made the mistake of rejecting God as a king. They wanted a king of their own.
Well, the whole control mechanisms in on it, from the Pope at the Vatican to all the Euro cronies to the CFR to the IMF, the UN, they're all in on this plot, this control plot that's going on, and So you
Comes
know,
down to multiculturalism. See, the thing is, the ideas of liberty in the West are wholly Anglo-Saxon in origin. So the very idea that other peoples from opposing and different cultures can adopt Anglo-Saxon liberty and live among it, you know, be promoters of it, is ridiculous on its face. They're incapable of it. We're not even talking about IQ standards internationally. We're just talking about basic cultural understandings. For instance, if you get people from, say, the Middle East that are high IQ individuals and realize that their culture and community is fucked. There's no other way to define it, but it's just absolutely fucked. They leave and they migrate to the West. The problem is this thing called the return to mean. Either the second or third generation will return to the same level of mean IQ and a level of mean understanding. It's like you get these based secular Muslims. They're not Muslim. They're Muslim in name only. They're not true Muslims. And they come over here and start businesses and whatever, and then they have children. But these children return to mean. They become radicalized in the West.
Mm-hmm.
The thing of it is you have to stop a moratorium on immigration, period. I don't know how long you would need it, but it's going to happen. And you know, diversity and multiculturalism is the destructor of the West. And it's been done.
The immigration
1946.
The immigration is going to tank the country. It's going to do the country in. If they don't stop it, it's going to bleed it to death. It's like ticks on a dog, man. You can only put so many ticks on a dog, and he can't support the parasite anymore.
Well, it's democracy. Democracy is the battle of demographics. And when you're importing people that 2 to 8, you know, out of 10, you get 8 of them that'll vote Democrat. That's a losing effort. And then you look at the demographics of the United States, which, whether anybody wants to agree or not, was founded by Western men for Western men. You get these people that don't carry these ideals. They have no understanding of Anglo-Saxon liberty. They have no understanding of human rights and the ideas of pure civilization. These people are destructors of civilization. They were much better under a colonial rule than they were governing themselves. For instance, Rhodesia, what we know now as Mozambique, South Africa, which we know now as communist South Africa. It's the same story over and over again. The idea that you can get people from opposing absolutely diametrically different cultures to adopt and promote Anglo-Saxon liberty is ridiculous on its face. Basically what it comes down is it's being forced now. Those that are members of the people that civilized the world are being removed purposely because we're not able. We can't be ruled. We're unruly. We revolt. We have enough. We get a gutful and we fight back. But these other people, Mexicans, for instance, oh yeah, Mexico's our ally. Bullshit. These people have been suppressed for 200 years. And they get them up here and you think they're going to all of a sudden adopt liberty and the ideas of Americanism? No. It's ridiculous on its face to even say such a thing. I mean, what's going to happen is you're going to see it. I mean, you know all these numbers, a reduction to 500 million. I mean, this shit was, I know it seems like I'm babbling right now, but after you start reading this stuff for a while, you start to accept some things. And one of those things is that, you know, the human race is going to have a major die-off. It's coming.
No,
well, it's engineered.
Look at the
everything you're talking about.
Yeah,
is
it's totally
engineered. You know, they wrote about it all the way back to the 1850s and shit. They wrote sci-fi novels about it and shit. Dreamt of doing it, and they're accomplishing it. They're doing it.
Well,
you know, it took.
Sorry,
go ahead, Saints.
I was going to say you're absolutely right, Black Shirt, because those people don't know anything. They're born and raised generations and generations of being controlled and searched and checkpoints, and their life is being controlled. And Americans are not like that. We resist. We fight back. The stallion, he doesn't want to be rode, and he's going to buck and kick and bite and everything else.
Well, and then to go back to Blackshirt's point that this is always going to happen, that it's secular, he's right to a point, but our country was different, I believe. They had to fucking literally take over the entire education system and change the way everybody was being taught to take us out. and they didn't even get that, like Charlotte Iserby wrote about, you know, and her documentary or her book. You know, it took them a long time to do it. You know, just because that
Just look at-
Americanism was so ingrained in our DNA.
Well, look at Western history. There has always been a westward expansion in Westerners. We've always moved west, and then you start understanding this. You'll come to the question: why were people constantly migrating to the west? They were moving and migrating away from the expansive state. That's all that happened. Now we've come to the position where there is no unfound or uncharted territory, no undiscovered country, and there's no more moving west away from that state. And state has become international now. It's not a future event. World government's here. It's not something in the future. It's here now. It's probably been here for about the last 25 years. But that's where you get the conflict. World War III is coming. That was set in stone 2 centuries ago.
Well, yeah.
But the thing about the reason it's comforting. It's comforting to know this. It's totally. I'm not terrified of it. You know, what comes. There's nothing I can do about it. But again, if you look at the cyclical nature, especially in Western history, there's a fall and then there's a rise.
Well,
And
there was
right
actually
now we're in.
there was actually a whole fucking thing written on that. Like they laid out a timeline going back like fucking 10,000 years in human history, and literally like meticulously put every event in the known human history that happened. And you're right, a clear fucking cyclical thing happens. You know, there's usually a major war every 50 to 100 years, or a couple of them, and then shit dies down for a while, and then it happens again. And in between, there's all these little proxy wars that set it up.
Right. But the one thing that no one calculates into that equation again is the human condition. The only thing that'll stop that cycle and break it forever is the next evolutionary step in mankind, our next evolutionary change. And we're on the cusp of that. And any type of change at that level is always preceded by strife and chaos. You know, I mean, Nugs, I know you know, we've had in-depth conversations about this. Ordo ab chaos.
Right.
You bring order from chaos. Well, that's a natural principle. It's a principle found in natural order. That's the reason, again, I'm not terrified of this shit. The only thing I'm worried about is I got enough time to get ready for it. But I'm comforted by that because natural order is the only thing that I respect. Everything that I look at and hold as a tangible, real principle is because I've looked through the understanding of the lens of natural order. But we're going to survive this. I'm telling you right now, we're going to survive. It's going to be bad. It might last maybe a couple hundred years. You and I will be long gone, turned to dust. But the thing about it is future generations, they're going to see a new horizon. They're going to see a creation of an entirely new civilization.
Well, you really don't
We're
know
on
how
the
long.
bound-
You don't know how long it's going
Dude,
to
I think you're exactly right, but you're a little off on your timeline, dude. We're witnessing it now. The new generation, the new civilization and it's actually multi-level because you have the transhumanists, the neocons that are merging into trying to become transhumanist gods, and then you have us, the human, as you put it, condition. I just look at it like, you know, basically being human, dude. It's just humans being humans. You know, we're evolving too, just like they are, but we're evolving differently. And it's almost to the point where we don't need all these big systems that governments have created over the last 150, 200 years or 500 years with the monarchies, if you add them into it. You know, we're evolving past that, and I think we're seeing the death throes in human society being, played out with our behavior as a whole, not ours, but as on a whole.
There's some of us that are capable of governing ourselves, but they're the far majority of the human race is incapable of governing themselves. They need rulers. When you have a moralless, a community or society without ethics and base understanding, that they need governors, they need rulers to control them because they're literally beasts. This is where I do subscribe to a lot of humanism, or more to the YouTube standard of definition, Luciferianism, where our intellect is our actual salvation. Everyone keeps looking for everyone else to fix their problems. They either look to God to fix their problems or look to government, because in my mind, government wants to put itself in place of the divine creator. But it basically comes down to is, can you govern yourself? I can.
Well,
but most
there's people that's been taken care of so long they don't even know. I mean, I can name numerous people that's been tied into the system so long. They'll always be in the system. That's all they know. They're dependent upon it.
I don't know too, and something's always stuck out with me too about this what we're talking about, the death throes of civilizations going back 10,000 years. Why does it always happen? That is the bigger question. Is it just human behavior? Because I don't really think it is, honestly. I really don't. There's something else going on there.
I don't think it's
understands human behavior and manipulates it is what it basically comes down to. Is when you become conscious.
I can't see them dragging this thing out 200 years because of they've pushed the envelope, they've pushed their window. People are seeing what's going on. A lot of people are still blind to it, but a lot of people are seeing what's going on and seeing how the criminal cabal at its finest hour, and they're sick of it, and they're to the point to where they're really not sure what to do. They just need somebody to tell them what to do, and they'll do it. You know, there's a lot of Indians out there, not a lot of chiefs, and the chiefs are scared to stand up because, like Nug said, the nail that sticks up furthest is the one that gets hammered. You know, so but it's coming. But I don't think it's going to take 200 years to turn it around. I can say they could probably turn it around if they piss off the right people and try to and really push everybody in a corner over the next 2 years. I can see them turning it around in 2 to 5 years.
Well, yeah, the internet and technology has just changed the game.
Too many guns, too much armor, too much first aid, too much food being put up. People are preparing for something bad.
Yeah, I got a quote for you. Nugs will probably recognize it. Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters. That is truth. But the thing about it is, when you start studying this gentleman and the quotes he made, you start recognizing where he got his belief system. And the very same belief system that he carried is the very same belief system these globalists have. It's enlightenment. It's just, where are you willing to accept the light, or are you going to reject it? Most people reject it.
Most people can't handle the truth, honestly. I mean, you just talk to them about the conspiracy. Hey, GMOs kills everybody. What? They don't even want to know about that. Something that's just basic science, basic fucking fact. So, where you get back to the human condition, I mean, I do agree with you on the point that the human condition is definitely a big problem we as humans have to overcome. Like you put it, to not want to be able to govern ourselves, or not have to have the moral and sophistication and the intellect to not do harm, basically, to do no harm to anything. Well, and then at that point, when humans get to that point, you won't need a government. You won't need any of that.
Well, they've got to put more rules in place. They've got to disarm the public. They know that. They've got to make it as easy as possible for them to seize total control. And they can't seize total control from an armed population. That's the reason we're the last man standing. I mean, everywhere else in the world is, like you said a while ago, they've been under control so long and been disarmed so long that they don't even know how to resist. They've forgotten they don't even have the ability or the know how to resist. The generations that's coming up now, I don't think they know how to resist. But the ones that are still here now, they do.
Yeah, well, like I was talking earlier about, you see the rise, and basically they're not hiding it anymore. They're coming out and admitting being communists, and you're seeing a reactionary side, the right extreme now, what they're defining it as is the alternative right. But that's both, extreme poles from the extreme left to the extreme right. And the thing about it is finding the balance in the center. The pendulum never finds the center until people are able to govern themselves, and there is no pendulum. No longer there's a box. But, I mean, I would say the global populace, as far as those that understand the the point of self-governance and also the true form of self-determination, which is individual, not mass. And I'd say it's less than 10% globally. But actually, a big human die-off is actually a benefit. It's not a negative. I know a lot of people have difficulties with that, but there are a lot of worthless eaters in this world. Those that don't add to civilization, they don't bring anything. They're just takers.
They're victims.
They just, victims. All they do is take. They don't give nothing back.
Well,
yeah, but they've been trained like
understanding
to do that, bro.
that's right.
You know?
That's all they know. That's all they've ever done. They've been, I mean, just like the Mike Ma in Guatemala. I mean, he's been down there 15 years, and he'll tell you those people down there they're all cowed. Everybody down there is cowed down. They've been under control and through checkpoints and under the threat of death or incarceration for so long now. That's all they know. So the thing is, their meager their meager existence is all they know. So what does that make you? That makes you an eater.
Well, you're kind of talking in circles a little bit to me, though, see, because you say you understand that this has been a plan for 150 years to do this to humanity, but then on the other hand, you won't acknowledge that they're all victims of this scheme to bring us all to be subjugated. You know what I'm saying?
I don't believe in victim. I believe in choices, and you either make a choice to be a victim or make a choice not to be a victim.
Some people, I mean, yeah, I agree with that 100%. I made a choice when I was younger, to wear a white hat. I do believe
in a nation
chosen to give
for a nation to have a stable government, it has to have a mean average IQ of 93. So by importing people from countries that have a mean average IQ between 83 and 86 into a country of a mean average IQ of 105, which is the United States, you're not going to be able to maintain a stable government. It's just the way it works.
Well,
intelligence is everything.
They're making sure they're bringing in plenty of.
That's not really what I was getting at. That's something else. But I understand what you're talking about, and I agree with the whole immigration thing. That's something else completely to what I was talking about, though. The social engineers, the fucking scientists, the literally the 140 and 160 IQ motherfuckers that have been paid off by the rich people of this planet to design ways to put us into boxes in our minds. That's a fact, and to say that they're not a victim on some level, I think is a little dishonest. I agree. They all make fucking choices. They choose to be an asshole. They choose to fucking steal. They choose to rob. They chose to be a bad guy. But they were almost, in a way, socially engineered into that direction.
Well, people laugh at the Hunger Games analogy, but they would love the Hunger Games. I mean, where you don't go, the government owns all the wildlife. They own all the, it's all the king's land. You killed one of the king's deer. You killed one of the king's, turkeys. You don't get to go out into this area anymore. And that's all your Agenda 21, where they're herding you into a small city to put you into a 600, 700 square foot living space. And that's all that you get.
And that's not 20 years down the road they're saying they're going to do that. That's within the next 5 or 10.
That falls back
in the United States.
That goes back
in the
to
United
meters
States
on the wells.
What you're witnessing is this dysgenic effect of social welfare. That's what's going on. I mean, it's obviously dysgenic.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing they used to take down France and England and Spain and Italy. This has all been going on over there for many, many more years. It's just they ramped it up over here all of a sudden. And you're right, dude. It goes back to fucking Rome. This was techniques Rome used to take down societies, civilizations before they conquered them.
But Rome itself was destroyed by multiculturalism, by bringing in former slave races and interbreeding with them, lowering the mean average IQ of the society down below 86, and then you had the inability, and that's when you had the rise of tyrants, and you had Caesars and things.
What did they line the aqueduct with?
Lead.
Exactly. They were also ingesting MSG on large fucking quantities.
That was long before the understanding of organic chemistry, though.
I'm saying it contributed to their their society's detriment, in my opinion. Also,
Right, but they didn't purposely go, the lead will fuck them up. Let's make this shit out of lead.
I know.
It wasn't
I'm just
like
saying.
that.
It was the ultimate downfall of the society, in my opinion, was they were poisoned. You know,
Well, they're doing it here with SSRIs. It makes you a docile, compliant human.
Well, it's in the water supply already.
Takes the fight out of the dog.
all the runoff they emit from the prescription drugs that people flush down the
That's
toilets.
right. And the SSRIs
Well, that's what they
are in
say.
there.
They could be just dumping it in there.
Well, they're not. The filtering process is not getting it out.
Well, the fluoridation and everything.
And
You know,
they
you look
had
at the
to
base
throw that on
studies.
top. And they
Well, the
had
base
to put-
studies of fluoridation, all that was done probably about 70 years ago. So it's all, you know, plus the use of television to great effect, propaganda,
Yep.
excuse me, public relations.
Yeah, and you got to add the flicker rate in there, and you know, and the microwave and control the microwave burst, you know, and radio waves that's piercing your head, you know, in your body all parts of the day. I mean, it's, and then what they're feeding you and spraying you with, it's yeah.
The propaganda making you believe everybody, other sets of humans are unhuman.
And
you know,
the divide and the conquer.
Well, that's that egalitarianism that I'll never subscribe to. There's no such thing as equality in nature. Therefore, there's no such thing as equality in man's civilization or societies. To say so is a woeful misunderstanding of reality.
Well, it's the law of the jungle, isn't it? And the food.
Well, the only
chain,
thing
at the top
I'm
of the
equal
food
in is
chain.
in death. Well, it's just that human beings are not equal. I mean, none of us are at the same level of intelligence. I mean, to say that we are is ridiculous, but the founding principles of America is based on the ideas of egalitarianism through the Enlightenment. And the Enlightenment was mainly, there was a lot of positives that come in, but as far as human societies, it was a negative. Egalitarianism is death. Multiculturalism and diversity is death. That's what it's intended to do.
The kicker, dude, is everybody that works around Congress and everybody in the White House always constantly talk about how inept and how dumb they are.
yeah.
I mean, they don't know how to do anything. They're always having stuff done for them.
I don't know. To say that, I don't think the founders were egalitarians, though. To say they wanted fucking an open society and open borders is ridiculous. They actually wrote about how dangerous immigration was over and over and over, which is why they made them fucking be indoctrinated with Americanism before they fucking, and American ideas.
All men, they're based in Enlightenment and egalitarianism. All men are created equal. That's their words, not mine. That's the Enlightenment talking.
In the eyes of the law.
All men are not created equal.
And that's what they were talking about, though. They're referring to the eyes of the law. In the eyes of the law, in the eyes of the government, you are equal. So it's not really the same.
Well, it's equal treatment. It's just not equal intellect.
Well, we know that, and it's not equal strength. I can walk down the street and fucking, it don't matter what color you are. 90% of the little fucking metrosexuals I come across, I could kill them with my bare fucking hands. But I don't do it.
Well,
I
there you
can't.
go. That's the law of the jungle. You know, eat or be eaten. That's coming back too. That's about to make a comeback when this thing goes hot.
I do think you're right, though, Black Shirt, man. The country will not survive as a whole, dude. It's going to separate. There'll be a split. Probably, I don't know, I see maybe less than half of the states actually defending the Bill of Rights and Constitution and trying to at least, have some form of government like that. The rest will go pretty much like you stated. It'll be infiltrated with and overrun with outsiders.
Dude, I can see the
there's a
power
lot
going off and the cell phones going down. I can see people. I can see a lot of between 17 and 23-year-olds going through PTSD because the cell phone went off and they don't know how to do anything without the cell phone. I mean, I can see a lot of mental illness going on just for the simple fact that they're losing their daily amenities. You know, like the toilet don't flush and they've never gone. You know, they've never been like a wild bear and took a dump in the woods. They don't know what that's about. It's just the culture shock's going to put a bunch of them in the crazy house.
I think a lot of them will leave too once they see us crazy white folks shooting at each other.
Well, they don't value life. A bunch of them will off their self.
Well, what you'll see, there's 11 different cultural regions in the United States. The dialect of English they speak, the attitudes, traditions, and all are all different. So more than likely, that's what you'll see it break down into is 11 different cultural regions. But yet again, there's further separations. But basically, it comes down to is just an overt understanding of what human civilization is and has always been and will always be. You just have to accept some things. There are tangible realities that cannot be escaped. But again, I mean, I'm not negative about any of this. I'm actually looking forward to it because I realize what's going to happen. Our civilization is on the cusp of becoming a true Type 1 civilization. And you're going to have to break a few eggs before that to happen.
Well, if they wouldn't have stole all the technology, man, they're fucking, the transhumanists are hoarding it all, dude. They want to become the Type 1 civilization without us, The divide and conquer, I think that's a major part of it. Right, I don't believe they will either. I think the Hopi Indians had it right. I think the Hopi Indians had it exactly right, that humankind will be given a choice at some point when the world is covered with a spider web. I think they were talking about the web, dude. And I think that choice is whether we're going to choose light or darkness. And I think we already chose. We already chose light. The fact that there's guys like us sitting in these chats for no purpose, none of us get any gain anything out of this except for maybe a little bit of ridicule from each other and from everybody else.
I have to disagree with that. It's a support mechanism. It's a place to vent, get around people of similar mind.
It's a pep rally. Let's hear 2 bits for y'all. 1, 2.
I like it. I like the intellectual exchange of debate too. I don't have to agree with you on everything. I agree with you on some things, and I don't agree with anybody on the panel on everything. But I respect your opinion, and I want to hear your view. It's like I even told 420's ass out there, who I can't stand. I might not like what you say, but I'll die to defend your right to say it. I don't think the founders got that wrong. That type of shit, I don't think the founders got wrong, dude.
Well, your rights are going away. Your rights are going away because it's just like them running the drone in on the guy in Texas, with explosive on him and blowing him up. There went due process. So you're probably not going to get your day in court because that went out the window that day. It was actually probably before that, but they solidified it that day. When they took the little robot and put the explosive on it, ran in there and blew the guy up. If indeed that's what they did, unless they were just trying to set precedents.
For the sake of complete disclosure, I'm of Ulster Scot descent. I'm as Appalachian as you can get. So just to let you, to dispel the confusion, my views towards, in particular, some of the founders, the first president in particular, is going to be wholly different than the rest of the country because I look at him as a tyrant. We fought harder than any other people in this country to be left alone. And within 3 years of the founding of the country, they were making war on us over taxes. That's the only reason we're here in Tennessee. We were in Western Pennsylvania, but we ran from them. There's nowhere to run now. My grandfather stood up for the right of self-determination and the right to private property. We didn't win. We had our teeth kicked down our throat and governed by military governors for 12 years after the end of the war. Look, Google map for military installations in the United States and look where the majority of the military installations in the United States are concentrated. They're concentrated in the southeastern United States. We've been suppressed people for a long time. So that's one reason you'll hear me not worship the founders like other Americans do, because I see them through different eyes, through a different lens.
I don't worship the founders, and I'm pretty sure you're not talking directly to me, but I respect a lot of their views. I understand that they were onto something. They were onto a bigger idea, although they didn't accomplish it. I'm under no delusion that the founders accomplished their goals. They didn't. They actually pretty much failed at this point, didn't they? In reality, if you take a retrospect look at the country, but look what they did do. You know, you can't just dwell on the negatives that the founders did. Look what they did do, man. They completely changed the world and gave humans a fighting shot at being free.
Well, I'm gonna tell you when the real oppression hit. The real oppression hit was after the Civil War.
Yeah.
Because the Southeast lost, and you know,
The internationalists
they,
won.
well, they kept the Southeast dumbed down for years and years and years.
Well, it's not even just that. Look, that's when they got control of our system of government again. You know, like Blackshirt stated, he said something about they got control of us again in the Civil War, and he's exactly right. But what I don't hear people talk about is how they got control of the courts in the Civil War. That's when they took over the courts. This whole maritime bullshit, gold fringe on the flag, blah blah blah. The lawyers swearing an oath to the bar and shit. You know, that's all fucking bullshit. That's all fake. That's not Americanism. That's not Americana. That's globalism. That's internationalism that got a hold of our country. It's like, and also a lot of people don't understand there was a bunch of fucking British troops in Canada just waiting to come down and fight against the South if the South was to win. You know, so Americans don't even understand the playing field, the game, let alone, you know, current events. They don't even know their own history. There is a lot of revisionist bullshit, though, that's being put out about the founders that I never read it 20 years ago, and I don't know why all of a sudden now, you know, oh well, he didn't say that, and they didn't say that. Bullshit, dude. There's a lot of shit out there that they're trying to change history on, and the founders writings and their opinions is one of them. I learned everything about the founders that I know like 25 years ago when I was a kid. You know, I didn't. It's not something I fucking learned on the fucking internet.
Well, they're trying to do away with all the remnants of the Civil War every chance they get, from banning the Confederate flag to taking down all the memorials and scrubbing the history books and everything else.
Yeah, they've been doing it for 20 years.
They're doing it in the Middle East.
Let's just sit with that battle flag, though. That's never represented a state, never represented a government. Right. That represented a people. You had the first, second, and third national flags for the Confederacy.
Well, I know, right, but they didn't take that into consideration. I mean, that's just one of the, you know, to them that's a symbol of what they scream racism, and it's not. It's part of American heritage just as much as the Revolutionary War was, or World War II, or anything else.
This is another country. This is a country in bondage where I'm at. Where you're at.
Oh, I know, brother. I'm in the heart of Dixie. You can't tell me nothing about that.
I know where you're at. I won't mention it, but we've talked before. But that's where I'm coming from. I want my nation back, and my nation is not the contiguous U.S. My nation is the southeastern United States, the senior of the two nations.
But the Confederates didn't want to overthrow the Bill of Rights. They just wanted to enforce it. Most of the people that defected to the South defected because they thought the North was infringing on the Bill of Rights and Constitution and wasn't following it. You know, so
yeah, we were fighting for constitutional laws. What we were fighting for, but
right.
They wanted the money.
After the Gettysburg Address, the lie was set. Now we lived for that Gettysburg Address lie ever since then, and people accept that as what. The Union wasn't fighting for constitutional law.
Well, they wanted the resources and they wanted the money.
As one of the fence center mossbacks out of Missouri, dude, I don't fucking like Lincoln personally. You know, that's one thing I don't like out of that time.
Lincoln was a racist.
Yeah, he was a tyrant.
Lincoln was a racist, but all black Americans look up to him as a hero. Right. Even been a damn.
He was actually going to send all the Africans back to Africa. And people don't know that. He was going to put them, you know, he was going to send them back and have them shipped back to the country of their origin.
Well, and he was also the first one to violate. He was the first one to put citizens in camps. He was also the first one to violate the First Amendment rights. He was the first one to violate Second Amendment rights, Fourth Amendment, Fifth. Yeah, he was a fucking tyrant. That is one of the people in our history that I'll most definitely agree with. Yep.
Dude, they genocided Confederate soldiers. They put them in camp and just starved them to death, shot them, killed them, treated them worse than animals, dude. I mean, did away with them just to get rid of them.
Well, that's the thing about Appalachia, though. Appalachia remained neutral best it could. It didn't take either side. Matter of fact, if you Google Shelton Laurel Massacre, you'll see how much we were against that war. And the only reason is my great-great-grandfather, the only reason he left Cataloochee and come down out of that mountain, he went to Buncombe County in western North Carolina and enlisted in the Confederacy because he thought his farm was going to be taken from him. It had nothing to do with slaves. They make it everything about slaves. It had shit to do with slaves. That was, if you read where the idea that Lincoln got the idea of the so-called emancipation of man, that come from Marx directly. Matter of fact,
Yeah,
Marx moved to New York during the Civil War.
That's the big lie. The slavery deal, that's the big lie about the Civil
And the
War.
14th Amendment didn't free the black man. The 14th Amendment enslaved everybody.
That's the thing, man.
But how
It's never been a level playing field, you know, all the way back to the founders of this country. This system of government has always been under attack from outside. And inside. I mean, look at all the trade inside. Like the founders wrote about. What?
Civil governance should be local. I shouldn't have to look to Washington, D.C.
Right.
My civil governor should be local.
It's one of the reasons why I'm not fucking voting this year, dude. That's exactly it. I'm worried about state elections, state government. We're getting ready to get constitutional carry here. I'm all about that shit, dude. I'm worried about getting that passed. You know, if people don't start worried about the states, their own fucking city and municipality, then we're all fucked. They've already won.
People that are there are people that are creating laws for the U.S. that are not even U.S. citizens. They're global citizens. They don't have any loyalty to any one country. The world is their home.
Hey, did you guys see this fucking headline? This bitch had an earpiece in her fucking ear during the fucking forum tonight.
Well, that's special.
Dude, it's all over the internet right now. This bitch had a goddamn earpiece in her ear.
She's
what a piece of work. Boy, isn't she a cupcake?
Dude, it's all over the internet. It's fucking it's like one of the #1 trends on the
internet. Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary.
Trump's going to trigger her so bad during the debate, she's going to have a stroke and drop dead on stage. Mark my words.
We can only pray. We can only pray. Dude, this is like the hottest trend on social media right now. This bitch had it's called, the tag is Hillary's earpiece. And you could fucking see that shit gleaming in the fucking light, dude.
Social media anymore, in my opinion, it's nothing but cancer. Good grief. Facebook, Twitter, that's all cancer.
Yeah. Control.
It's a sewer. It's a sewer.
Well, you can't trust anything on it either anymore because they'll just make 10,000 fake accounts and promote a story.
Oh, I can almost guarantee that I talk to shills for Israel and shills for Clinton and shills for all kinds of shit on there and argue with them in those debate forums on Facebook. You can tell they're paid just by the language they use.
Oh yeah, there's super amounts of trendies on Facebook.
No, it's admitted. I mean, there's several different news articles about how they pay herds of people just to go on there and shill.
Yep.
But Russia's it's all Russia.
How many Americans even understand that or even know the executive order that they used to legalize propaganda to be used on American citizens? Dude, there's no use in arguing with it anymore.
Did you watch? You probably didn't. That's no affront to you. But did you happen to hear the Phoenix speech that Trump gave?
I've listened to a lot of his speeches, but not recently. Was this one of the recent ones?
Yeah, it's when it was the same day he come back from Mexico. Just to make this quick, though, for you. What do you think about Trump openly admitting that when he becomes president, he will overturn and repeal all unconstitutional executive orders?
I think it's awesome. Man. Like I say, I'm not anti-Trump. I know he's not a racist. I know he's not this or that. You know what I'm saying? I just don't believe that they're going to give it to him, dude. They're not going to put him in the White House. I don't see it happening whatsoever. I literally don't. The powers that be are so powerful, they're not going to allow that. perfect example is Hillary Clinton being set up to win the debates. Hey, did you guys see the other headline? She's ahead by 2 points too. If you guys believe that, I got a bridge I'd like to sell you. You know what I mean?
Sound check, Tony. Sound check, Tony. You're low, man.
I'm on my phone. I'm coming in on the computer in just a second.
All right.
Well, I mean, the internationals didn't want the Brexit to happen. They did everything they could through fraud and any other means they could to overturn that, and still the popular vote won. Of course, they haven't left yet. Now the EU is talking about them having to pay. Well, what I'm saying is these internationalists and all, they're not near as powerful as everyone gives them credit. We can still overrule them.
The Phoenix you were talking about, that's the one where he did the immigration, wasn't it? His 10 points on immigration.
Yeah, it's when he doubled down on everything, and then all these black-pilled assholes said, "Oh, no, he's going back on his word." What the fuck ever.
Sounded pretty good to me about sending everybody back. Everybody's got to go back, and then you come in the right way. And
he's going to start with the criminals. He's going to start with the criminals.
Right. Clean the prisons out.
And then work on that, and then use E-Verify. And plus, he's also said through sleight of hand, he hasn't come out and directly said it, but if you go to his website and read his platform, anybody that aids and supports illegals will be prosecuted. So if you're renting to illegals, if you're hiring illegals and employing them, if you're benefiting illegals whatsoever, you're going to be prosecuted for it.
Well,
that's what I want.
They supposedly been doing that because Tyson Chicken was the number one hirer of people from Mexico. Tyson would hire anybody because they had a Tyson plant probably about 50 miles from here. The immigration hit it one day, and they had to shut the plant down, dude. They had 6 buses, tour buses full of people. They took out of that chicken plant and carried them to, and they had to go. They were here illegally working, and they fined Tyson. But Tyson's, the Clintons are in on the Tyson because it's out of Arkansas.
Deportations are at a 20-year low under Obama, so they're not doing anything.
He's catching release. Yeah, he's catching release. I mean, that was a headline on Drudge the other day that the people, when they got caught, they said it was okay. Obama told them it was okay to come here. That's what they're telling the police when they stop. Obama said it was okay for us to come here.
He's prosecutable under Article 3, Section 3, but just because there's constitutionalists in here, let me find this here real quick. Article 4, Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. Okay? And on application of the legislature or the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. You got an invasion of tens of thousands of basically criminals, violent, hostile criminals, killing, raping, and robbing American citizens.
Yes.
And that president, Article 4, Section 4 is his number one, the domestic security of the United States. He's violated that. We're not even talking about loss of guns. We're not talking about illegal trade deals. We're not talking about anything. We're talking about the security of the nation. So,
a nation without borders is not a nation.
Well, there's the reason they never prosecuted Hillary, because if they realized they prosecuted Hillary, they'd have to prosecute the head executive. And if they prosecuted the head executive, they'd have to prosecute just about every person in both wings of the Congress because of the Clinton Foundation. This goes to the very core. This level of corruption cannot be cured. You cannot fix this. There's no means or methods to do it. We have to go through the legal measures of the Constitution because we don't want to kill each other right yet. It's not time. It's close, but it's not time.
Well, I hope
Article
Trump
5
gets them.
Convention. Well, Article 5 States Convention is the next step in this, and we already have enough states to do that now. I don't know why they haven't pulled the trigger yet, but we have enough states to do that now. But once the Article 5 Convention goes through, and that's an abysmal failure, which if it happens, that's what I think what's going to happen, then the next step is secession, which is that's given to us as a remedy under the Kentucky and Virginia resolution.
Dude, I'm scared to death of the Constitution of the States because they'll mess around and get the upper hand and strip your Bill of Rights away from you. You won't have any rights. See, it can go both ways, brother. It can't just go one way. Well, it can go both ways.
But it still doesn't override. It doesn't override the sovereignty of the state's constitution.
Yeah, but it can go both ways. So you got to be careful when you're dealing with that because you can not
No, no,
only
no.
gain, but you can lose.
That's the reason I want it. But that's the reason I want the Article 5. That's the reason I want it, because I know it'll be an abysmal failure and will force the state's hands to secede. You want to limit the scope and measure of federal government? You do that by secession.
Yeah, but ain't nobody gonna secede, man.
Now, Texas has tried to secede, and that's like
and they only got like not even 25% of the counties on board with that shit.
Well, that's like when old Perry tried to stand up and say he wasn't going to let them use the scanners in the airports anymore, and Obama came out and said he'll declare Texas a no-fly zone.
There's something else that I never hear anybody talk about either, is we can have our national recall. All the states can recall their senators and congressmen and basically have new fucking elections.
Yeah, but see, this is why this shit doesn't work, because everybody forgets the fucking major population centers are the big fucking cities in a state, and I live in the city, dude. Not me, but we as a city and all the rest of the cities are willing to take whatever they cram down our throat, you know? I mean, Nevada, all the population is down here down south. You know, you got a little bit of people up north, but it goes the same in almost every state. You might have the guys out in the country, and you might have the guys in the smaller towns and cities on board with, you know, any of these articles and such, but dude, nobody in town, nobody in the city gives a fuck about what we're saying right now. You know, until you cut their PlayStation connection, you ain't getting them on board.
A patriot is ridiculed and scorned until such time it costs nothing to be a patriot, man. That's what we all are. You're feeling the ridicule and the scorn, and those people will not fucking stand up. You're not going to push, until it's such time that it's easy for them to.
And they've herded everybody into the city so that they're easily manipulated, easily controlled, and you ain't getting nobody on board with secession, but the patriots out in the country, the patriots out in these smaller towns, the smaller, whatevers. But you ain't getting nobody on board in the big cities. It's not happening.
That's that progressive social movement done by the communists. That's what we're up against.
You can't define future events. We don't know what's coming. And there could be a catalyst for it. I mean, it happened once already. I have no reason why I couldn't again.
Yeah, but certain states like California, you got to realize, like, the likelihood of it is very small.
No, Northern California.
Northern California, yes. But the majority of the state as a whole, no.
The population,
if they do the state of Jefferson, okay. State of Jefferson, fine. Other than that, just staying against California, they're outnumbered 10-1 easily.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. The state of Franklin. State of Franklin in the South.
You'll have to have, like, counties secede more than you'll have a whole state secede. I mean, I can imagine maybe Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, these guys maybe all being able to come together, but in a state like Nevada, a state like California, even Arizona. Arizona is an awesome state, but you go down to fucking Phoenix and guess where the majority of the population lives, down there by Phoenix and Tucson and all that, and they ain't on board. They're not on board. So you're literally going to have to have something, you're going to have county by county secession, not statewide. It's not, you know what I mean? When Texas is the only state that is basically allowed to secede, they can't even get 25% of the counties on board to do it. I totally agree with you guys, but I mean, we got to be realistic, dude. They've herded everybody in the cities. Everybody is fucking easily manipulated, easily controlled within the cities because our kids are being fed propaganda all day. We're being fed propaganda all day, and in the end of the day, the only thing that really affects everybody is when you cut that fucking PlayStation off. When you cut off, people's comfort factor at home when they go home, then people are gonna say, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, cut off welfare and watch how quick they'll be to raise hell.
Oh yeah, check how fast they want us to see then.
Something I think we all need to start doing more too is, and we're always calling out the politicians and the corporatist fucks, but dude, these media scum, like fucking this cocksucker rat rat-faced what's his name tonight.
Rat
Dude,
Lauer.
Yeah, these people really need to be fucking.
They're just guilty as Crooked Hillary.
Yep,
Well,
They're collaborators. They should be their collaborators. They should be treated accordingly.
And you came in after what I said earlier, Nugs, and I said these motherfuckers need their heads on pikes, honestly. And you know that's
Article 3, Section 3. They have right to due process. They have right to a fair and speedy trial, followed by a fair and speedy hanging.
Well, label me a fascist when it comes to the media, because I want them all. They don't deserve to fucking breathe the air in this country, honestly.
Well, look who controls the media in the country. That's your enemy.
Did anybody notice the article today where Goldman Sachs said that told its big holders no contribution, banning any donations to Trump, but it's okay to donate to Hillary's campaign? Everybody see that?
Yeah, I seen that.
Goldman Sachs, isn't that special?
Even more reason to support Trump. The establishment is fighting against him.
You're hitting close to home. If the big banks don't like him, he's doing his job.
It's funny because I say that the reason that Goldman's put that shit out is because Pence is a governor and Tim Kaine is he's a senator, right? Some shit like that. So they were saying that locally, I don't know, they were breaking it down today to why Goldman said that shit. And it had to do with Pence being a governor and Tim Kaine being a senator or whatever the fuck he is. I don't know what Tim Kaine is. I know Tim Kaine's a fucking cocksucking faggot. I know that when I look at him, he's a little fucking faggot, you know.
He's a fucking communist, though, buddy.
He's coming back to the same place, and I know it'll be an unpopular opinion, but it comes back to the JQ. You're going to get slapped in the face over and over until you accept the JQ, and until you accept the JQ, you'll never understand the truth of things.
I think Tim Kaine could fucking suck a golf ball through a garden hose.
Yeah, he surrendered that keister a time or two. I'm certain of it.
For sure. The first fucking out and out fucking whatever, you know, binary, fucking non-binary, fucking transsexual, fucking metrosexual / all the additives after that. I mean, it's a joke, dude. It's really, really a joke. Even tonight in that forum, they had out and out gays and out fucking transgenders, and they were pulling them out of the crowd saying, this transgender bitch served 3 tours in Afghanistan. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Nobody in that crowd is standing up and calling bullshit on that. You know, nobody's standing up and saying.
You know what the next is? I mean, I've actually seen a couple of your videos talking about it. You know, we thought the gay thing was extreme, and then they went to transgenderism. We thought that was extreme. Now they're pushing, like the Huffington Post, pushing pedophilia as an acceptable social norm now. It's like each extreme over and over and over again.
They're writing fucking scientific papers coming out of Harvard and the big 3 colleges, Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, dude, are coming out trying to support after birth. What are they? After birth euthanasia up to the age of 3, along with the pedophilia shit. So
hey, look, on YouTube, there is out and out fucking pedophilia, and they are banning patriots. They are shutting patriot accounts down. They're doing this. They're doing that, and there is out and out fucking pedophilia on YouTube.
Those who can make you believe. Or I'm sorry, those who make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. Voltaire, you know, that's what all the brainwashing's for. They're gonna get these. They're making their useful idiot soldiers. You know.
And the thing is, you know, I'm gonna be a father here for a second. They can do whatever the fuck they want to me. I can eat it up and drive on. I've seen harder times. They can't break me. You know, what really bothers me is when they go after the kids with this genderless things. They're not like here in Tennessee, the last damn place in the world you'd think of this shit. They're not even called. They can't refer to the students in elementary school as his or her, or she or he. They have to call them purple penguins because that's genderless now. And then, like you see a state like New York, there's like either 16 or 23 different genders that you can get put on your fucking driver's license. This is absolute lunacy. But if you don't accept it, then you're a racist.
Girls sections are gone out of fucking Target. You know, you could be whatever you want and go in whatever bathroom you want in Target. And people may talk all the shit they want. They may this and they may that, but I don't know if people realize Target is massive. I mean, they're right behind Walmart. You know, I mean, all Walmart has to do is swing the gay way, and they've got it all the way because there is no competitors. It's Target and Walmart. Kmart, I still see a couple Kmarts, but Kmart ain't nobody. You know what I mean? Michael Moore put them motherfuckers out of business damn near with the fucking Columbine bullshit.
That's the one thing that I really did. I actually agree with the Muslims. You throw them off of tall buildings.
Well, and they're against the usury system. They don't like banking usury.
Well, you and I, although friends, and I do consider you an associate and a friend, we would never agree.
He cut out. I didn't hear the end of that.
I didn't hear it either.
I come from the anarcho-capitalist side of things, and usury is not as evil as you think it is. Usury, although when you get blatant usury where they're like charging 60% and shit like that, yeah, that's most certainly illicit. But usury is not bad in and of itself.
I would tread lightly on that personally. You know
But
what I
there's
mean?
limitations to everything, but the idea that you would loan money for free is ridiculous.
That's not exactly
free.
You know, yeah, that's not really what I'm referring to.
It's but you know, usury is just a charge for a
By
benefit.
me saying usury, I'm talking about the modern Federal Reserve System. You know, central bank planning. That's usury, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's what's
you'll get told. Then
you know, Mayor Rothschild, he who controls the money supply controls the world.
No, just
you know,
I'm
on the lowest pay scale, dude. I'm making shit money right now, and I'm 4 months of my salary, almost 4 months of my salary goes to taxes, all kinds of taxes, different taxes. You know what I mean? That's usury, in my opinion. I'm a serf. I'm a debtor slave.
You're not going to have to worry about these people that saying everything's going to be okay, nothing's going to happen, because they think everything is peachy, and they're not putting anything back for the hard times. They have absolutely no idea or no tactical skill whatsoever, no survival skills. I don't know how much they even value life. So you're really not going to have to worry about them because they're going to go away, and their share will go to those that are still here. So.
Yeah, and then you think about where the usury system came from, the banking usury system, and it comes directly out of fucking Rome. It goes back, 6, 7, 8,000 years ago. The only time, if you believe in the Bible, Jesus got mad was when he chased the fucking money changers out of the temple.
We come full circle to the JQ again.
We've pretty much come full circle in that respect. Yeah.
What's the JQ? I'm gonna be honest. I'm not. Maybe I just don't know. It's.
Check the side chat, Tone.
I'm on the goddamn phone. Hold on. I'm going to have to jump in on the computer.
See, I got arguments for that too, though. The Chinese, they're not run by them. This is way older than them.
It's the haves and the have-nots.
It's where the Rothschilds are now. Yes, they are.
See, we're Hungary banned all the Rothschild banks in Hungary now, told them to get out.
They have a standing arrest order for any Rothschild family member in Hungary.
They did it as far as I could tell. It happened today. They said all Rothschild bank, anything to do with the Rothschild banking, have got to get out. So watch and see. The next thing that'll happen, there'll be bombings and attacks and stuff like that go on in Hungary. They'll start attacking the government and the infrastructure there because they don't want to deal with them. They do it everywhere.
I say
it
the
happens.
same thing with fucking Russia, though. They're playing Russia as the boogeyman, but yet there's a fucking hit out on Soros in Russia. Fucking Soros fucks around, gets anywhere near Russia, they're gonna hang that mother. They're gonna do a public execution on that motherfucker.
Well, they said he was a threat to Russia's national security. He wasn't allowed back in the country or any of his organizations.
George Soros is the man that crashed and destroyed Yugoslavia. The very same thing they did. All you got to go look at Yugoslavian history. I know it's a contrived country after World War One. Yeah. But look at the collapse of Yugoslavia in the 80s, and now what you understand about the collapse in the United States, and tell me if it's not the same thing. The very same man that did Yugoslavia is doing the United States.
Well, I saw a headline today where he's put $100 million into this battle in the U.S. in various Black Lives Matter, blah blah blah.
He's not the only one, though. There's literally an elite group of billionaires or whatever they are, money changers, that are literally trying to control politics all over the fucking world for their benefit. We got here in Missouri, we got the SB 484 fight, which is the constitutional concealed carry fight. And fucking Bloomberg punk ass is dumping tens of millions of dollars into a state fucking issue here in Missouri to fight.
He's doing it. He's doing it here too. He's doing it here too. In November. Question 1 here in Nevada is universal background checks and close the gun show loophole, etc., etc. He's pumping fucking millions and millions of dollars trying to affect what happens in November here in Nevada. And I mean, he's got police associations on this shit and everything.
But don't you hear all that echo and all those surnames you just mentioned? There's an overt echo about all of them. Mm-hmm. Soros echoes. Bloomberg echoes.
Rothschild echo.
And he does that shit with the out here. What they're doing, they're running commercials. Too many cops are dying in Nevada. The only way we can stop cops from dying is to pass this question 1, which is background checks, close the gun show loophole, etc., etc. I mean, they're playing obviously flat out lies, but what concern does that fucking faggot have to come into my goddamn state? His head needs to be somewhere too.
They've assumed power over us. Go back 3 years ago when they had those, what was it, Oprah and like all these other Hollywood jackoffs fucking met in secret, and everybody wondered what the hell was going on, what are they talking about? And then she started coming out and making statements that white folk were just going to have to die.
Let's stop and ask you this question. Let's accept for an instance that the Holocaust did happen, right? The Jewish Holocaust. All the people that are main proponents of disarming the United States populace are all Jews. Now ask yourself, why would Jews want a populace disarmed?
It's funny because, yeah, it is funny because they were even talking about that on the radio today, local radio. Why are fucking Jews today, they're all liberals. Why are they all fucking in for this, self-succubus? All of them.
Well, see, I totally agree that there is a Jewish connection with all these. All these people are Jews. There seems to be some, but it's more than that. They're not just Jewish. I think there's something deeper, a secret society behind it, some kind of fucking ulterior motive. But they're not really Jewish, in my opinion. They're Luciferians. They're Satanists. They're paganists. And that seems to me more logical to me, is that this is a worldwide congregation of fucking paganists, Satanists, that are assuming power of the fucking planet.
Yeah.
They could be anything, dude. They could be Jews, they could be whatever, but this group of visible fuckers are, supposedly highly respected Jews, this, that, and the other, like Schumer and all these other fucks.
They are. That's what Steve Pachinik said. He said it's a cabal of Christian and Judeo.
Well, they're not Christian. They're Shabbos Goyim is what they are.
Well,
and ask yourself, how come no president can be even a possible president without the express permission and support of AIPAC or J Street. You can't, and that's both of those are foreign lobbyists. They're both foreign Israeli lobbyists. I mean, go look at they say it themselves. Go look at the prime ministers since 1948, the prime ministers of Israel, and what they say about the United States to this very day. Netanyahu invites himself to our Congress.
Well,
Invites
there's
himself.
there's not just one group here hacking away at the tree. There's a bunch of groups that are chopping away at the tree. You know, don't forget the Muslim
and
don't
yeah,
forget the
and
Muslim
do you have
option.
to be a Jew to be a Zionist? I don't think so. A Zionist would just be another fucking group of filthy fucks. You know what I mean?
You know what?
It's real easy to say, oh, it's the Jews' fault. It's the Jews' fault. Just like, oh, blacks do this, blacks do that. I mean, dude, it's so easy to manipulate people by demonizing some group of people.
This is my feigned attempt at red pilling you all. Stop and ask yourself who controls the media in the country. Stop and ask yourself who controls the arts and entertainment in the country. Stop and ask yourself who controls the election of state and federal level representatives in the country. Stop and ask yourself who gets $40 billion scot-free every year. You're going to keep getting slapped in the face with this until you accept it.
But then you use the argument that anybody that's not a Jewish is just a dumb goyim working with the Jews. See, that's where I don't really agree with that point, because there's a lot of fucking races that are not Jewish, and they're going along with the globalism march just the same.
Yeah, they're boss men too.
And it's not really, is it globalism or is it Satanism? You know, because they're doing this all over the fucking world.
It's enemies. It's enemies of humanity. It's enemies of humanity. It doesn't.
Sure.
I mean, you think they wouldn't let any other motherfucker of any other race into their little group if they didn't fucking put in the time and the money to destroy?
I mean, look at the House of Saud, man. The House of Saud is not Jewish, but look at the amount of money they throw into the.
I think you need to go look at the Fouds again and look at their lineage, and I think you might be shocked when you find out what their true lineage.
They sure stay with the Sharia law and the Muslim law.
Only within their own, and look who they're supporting and allying in the Saudi Arabian Peninsula. Same with Jordan. Jordan's the same. The reason Libya was took down, the reason Egypt was sent into a revolution, the reason they're trying to destroy Syria, the reason they destroyed Iraq, the reason that just for the temporary they're not dealing with Iran, but they're going to deal with Iran. Why is this? Look at the Israeli flag. You have a blue stripe on the top, the Star of David, and the blue stripe on the bottom. You know what that represents? The blue stripe on the top represents the River Nile. The blue stripe on the bottom represents the River Euphrates. The Nile is in Egypt. The Euphrates is in Iraq. Since the UN Accord of the two-state method of solving the problem in Palestine, because I do consider that Palestine, who's been expanding? Who's been taking territory that's not theirs? Who's using white phosphorus against women and children?
Oh, I know.
Who in the Seventh Day War was defending themselves against these great and powerful enemies and destroyed them in seven different nations destroyed in 7 days? The question, I mean, I understand the accusation of racism and the accusation of anti-Semitism. When you start looking at this and you start looking at the people behind it, the movers and shakers, and who does control international policies, who controls the United States, all this other stuff, you'll plainly see who it is. Look at the buildings that are here's one for you. Kazakhstan. There's a city in Kazakhstan called Astana. Go Google that on Google Maps and look at the layout of the city. And then again, in Israel, go to Jerusalem and look at the buildings they're building there now and the shape of those buildings and what forms and statuary and things they're having there. Go to New York and look at the Rockefeller Center and look at that large golden statue at the ice rink at Rockefeller Center. I mean, the question is there. The only thing is just all you have to do is accept it. I didn't want to accept it.
The whole cabal is not Jewish, though, dude. I mean, there's...
No, you got Shabbos Goyim.
Well, you got
And the
people
Jews couldn't
out
do
of
what they
India
do
that are. You got
without the
people out of
willingness.
India that are Hindu that are in it. You got the group out of Turkey
Shabbos
that's in it. You got
The Goyim are beasts. The Goyim are filthy.
the sod and
They couldn't. I mean, just out of curiosity's sake, go ahead and do the study.
well,
You'll come
they
to the
don't.
same
They don't.
conclusion.
You won't see them wearing. You won't see them wearing a yarmulke like the head cheese does.
No, they're atheists.
I mean, dude, but I don't
know
know,
it's
man.
tough.
I can't. No, it's not even that. It's just like fucking anybody else that falls for any other bullshit. Hey, this is who it is. This is who it. You think fucking Jewish people have anything to fucking do with the top movers and shakers? Fuck no, dude. These dudes are made up of every fucking ilk. You know what I mean? You got goddamn Saudis. You think there ain't Saudis up there with fucking Israelis up there doing the same shit? I don't buy it, dude. I don't buy it.
It's about money and control. I don't think it's got nothing
They
to
let
do with religion.
they let anybody they want in the clique. You gotta pay to play.
Pay to
That's
play,
what it
bro.
is.
Pay to play. That's right.
It's not all people of Levantine descent. I'm not condemning the entire race of Jewry. That's not what I'm doing. But there is a sect, there is a cabal, as Nug said, that control things. It's just, I mean, it sounds conspiratorial as hell. It sounds comic book as hell. But when you start looking in this stuff, it's undeniable. It's a hard one to swallow. That's why they call it the red pill. Because once you swallow it, you can't go back to sleep. But once you start recognizing the way the evangelical church works, who they support, who they fund, you look at AIPAC and J Street and their control over our government, who becomes president, who becomes representative and senators. You look at the UN, the core of the UN. You look at the international community and the control of that. You look at this overt concern about the existence of Israel. Back in time and time and time again, it comes back to the JQ. It's something like, again, it took 20 years for me. I wouldn't accept it either. But once you start studying this, it's undeniable. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one.
They are in places of power. I'll give you that, but they're not running. They're not in total.
It's not an overrepresentation. That's what people try to say all the time. It's just an overrepresentation because of the people's talents. No, it's not an overrepresentation. You want to know, if you talk about the global order and you talk about the new world order and all that shit, go look what the foundational principles of that is. And then find out instantly who are the creators of these foundational principles of global governance. It's the same thing over and over again. It's a tough one, man.
We agreed all night, but you can't get me on there because I mean that is since the beginning of time. That's been the easiest one. It was you know I don't.
108 different times these people have been expelled out of Europe. Ask yourself why. During the control and reign of the Catholic Church over Western Europe, the only people in Western Europe that were allowed to charge usury were those same people. Time and time again, you come back to the same thing. And again, I would think less of you if I said this and you accepted it like that. I would think less of you. But because you're fighting against it, which means more than likely, I mean, I watched your videos for years, dude. I know what you're intelligent enough to grasp this shit. Go study it. Give it some time. I know work's hard, kids hard. I know I got the same problems. When you start studying this shit, man, it's undeniable.
Well, these guys, I don't doubt there's some of them. I don't doubt there's some of them in control, but there's other people in control that don't go to the Sabbat and that don't go to the bar mitzvahs. You know, they're not about it. They don't care anything about it. They're looking at personal gain, money, and control. The religion is out the window for them. I think a lot of them are probably atheists.
Well, it's a standing general order for the United States military. If any attack happens to Israel, it's a direct attack on the United States. These are the very same people that shot. These are the same people that strafed and shot sailors in the water.
I mean, in that case, then you would have to side with Obama because he fucking hates Israel.
Yeah, he
I
don't
mean,
get along
I
with
mean,
Netanyahu.
in that case, you'd have to side with Obama and his.
He knows who feeds him. He knows who allows him to do what he wants. He doesn't bite the hand that feeds him. He only pushes Israel so far. I mean, any other country would use white phosphorus on a civilian populace. The UN would scream from the mountaintop. Israel does it almost on a daily basis. There's people who are cut off of water. They're cut off of resources and food. Basic things. You know, these talk about human rights. Basic things like medicine and things, education of the children, housing. These people are denied all this, and the international community turns a blind eye to it. These are the very same people, as I said before, that attacked and strafed the USS Liberty with sailors in the water. They attacked and strafed our sailors, American boys, in the water of the Mediterranean. Nobody wants to talk about the USS
I'll
Liberty.
give you that. The Palestinians are getting a raw deal. I'll give you that.
But
It's got shit to do with
I'm
religion.
on the other end of the spectrum. I could give a fuck less about Palestine. I could honestly give a fuck about anything outside of this country.
That's where I'm standing.
They don't got nothing to do with what the fuck is going on with me putting food in my kids' mouths. You know how much I hear that, growing up being Hispanic, that fucking Hispanics and Mexicans they're the root of every problem that's fucking wrong here. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
I hear it all the time too. I know what you're saying, and
I
know,
I can't.
I don't want the Mexicans here either because they're taking my job. They're taking food out of my kids' mouths. I know, dude. Believe me, I'm aware of these things. I agree with Palestine. Palestine is not my problem. I use them as an example to show you if they're willing to kill women and children over there, they're willing to kill women and children here. They are our enemy.
Well, those Israelis tied in with the 9/11. I know that because they caught them.
Well, the thing about it is,
Israel doesn't represent Jewish people, though. I mean, Israel does not, just like some fucking muzzy blowing himself up doesn't fucking represent all Muslims. As much disgusted I am by Islam, when the Bundy Ranch thing, or not the Bundy Ranch thing, when the Malheur thing was going down, there was a guy up there, there was a kid up there, and he told a story about how everything was on their side. Everything was on their side. And he said somebody sent a whole box full of Qurans, colorful, different color Qurans. And I think it was John Ritzheimer or one of them fuckers went and burned all them shits. And the kid said, he's deeply religious. He says, it was like a test from God, like, here's these fucking Qurans. You can be like peace with everybody, or you could say, well, fuck the Muslims, fuck the Muslims, burn the Qurans. And that dude, David Fry, he said, when that motherfucker burned them Qurans, they lost the support of God. You know what I mean? It's deeper than motherfuckers just changing money. If you believe in God, as much as I love to fucking blame every fucking Muslim, I look at myself ignorant as fuck, like, oh, fuck every Muslim. I mean, it's too deep. It's honestly, it's too deep. I mean, I don't really know how to talk about it or how to, elaborate on it, because we got friends that come in here. We have friends that come in here and they start with the fucking Jew talk, and it's like, you're not gonna get a goddamn. I'm like first generation here. My dad is from Mexico. You're not. I catch myself in it. Fuck all Muslims. Fuck Islam. Fuck Muslims. And you can't think that way. If you're a Christian, you can't fucking think that way. You can't. You just can't.
Can you tell
know
the
what I
difference?
mean?
Well, just being real world. Not suggesting you aren't, but I'm just saying myself personally. Can you tell the difference between a Muslim that will commit those types of atrocities as compared to one that won't? Can you just look at them as a glance and see that? No.
Exactly, but
Same with any sect of people.
when God gives you a test, here's a box of Qurans. You can burn them, or you can say, look, somebody sent these Qurans in support of us. As stupid as it sounds, I mean, even in my head right now, I mean, it took me a long time to digest it. I self-reflect all the time. And if I'm so ignorant to classify a whole group of people, then I fall in for the trap that these motherfuckers set, that all of them set, whoever it is, hiding behind the fucking doors, the fucking Wizard of Oz. I fell for the trap. You know, religious people do not act this way. Hijackers of religion do act that way. Or claiming something
again,
in the name of religion.
Discern the difference, though. That's the problem.
Well, then that wouldn't be religious people. That would just be some greedy, fucking money-hungry fucks.
And
which could be anybody.
You got to also realize religion is interpreted by everyone in different ways. Some people, from the religious standpoint, look at it as we should all just get along. Where if you look at most religious writings, they tell their people to be set apart from other people, to not associate with people of other religions. So it depends on how you want to look at it. Certain people say go to war with them. Some people say kumbaya. Some people just say let them be over there and let us be over here. So it depends on what mindset you want to go about it at.
Well, you can take the, I mean, same with any religious text. You can take it for its literal, take it literally. And when it says smite them wherever you find them, you can pretty be sure they believe that. And the only reason some Muslims that don't act out like that is, one, they're not true Muslims. Two, they're a minority in the society they live in. And until they reach parity or exceed parity in numbers, they'll remain peaceable. But once they become the majority, for instance, France, soon to be Germany, Sweden, England, once they become the majority, then you're fucked. And that's what's coming to the United States. But it's an old military strategy. The government, Western governments realize that their populaces are pissed off at them. So the government has to put a buffer in between them and their native populace. And we start hating the Muslim when we should not be so much hating the Muslim. Suspicious, yes. Hating, still question about that.
But
the real enemy.
It's weird because a lot of things you have said, Obama has espoused. Obama just espoused that just like yesterday or today, where he said, you know, in times, he said flat out, I'm paraphrasing here, when people are fucking broke and they ain't got no money, they start turning against each other with the religion and the race, and that's their game. That's their game that they fucking made up, because that's not true. You know what I'm saying?
If you look at Western Europe, the last 1,000 years of Western Europe, well, the last 1,000 years of Western Europe is completely tied in Christianity. Our culture is Christianity. It made us what we are. The thing about it is, when we surrender those Christian principles of brotherly love and civilization, and we surrender this to people that don't hold these same ideals, then we got a fucking problem. And that's what's happening now.
But it's easy to hijack that. It's easy to hijack that and use that for political purposes, whether it's race or religion or whatever. It's easy to hijack that and use that as your platform. You know, this is the people that,
but you see
the fault.
You see what my point where I said we just need to withdraw? This is the very reason that we need to withdraw. Because we get caught up in these little micro fights.
And I got like this little piece. I got this little piece from being a leftist, you know, that I grew up a leftist. I was a leftist all the way until like 6 years ago. My daughter's about to turn 6, and that's when I woke up. We use the religion as an excuse, or we use the religion as something to put all our problems on or whatever. But, you know, imagine you're religious just because it sets morals and it sets values, and you can twist that into whatever you want to. You know what I mean? You know, oh, it's this group's fault, it's that group's fault, when in all actuality, the core, the foundation, the base of most of these people, they adopted whatever religion to teach their children, teach their families a set of guidelines, you know, to love your brother. You know, you don't have to fucking kill a motherfucker because they look different or they pray different. And I'm guilty of that, dude. I've said fuck Islam. I've said fuck Muslims more than 1,000 times. I've said that. I'm guilty as fuck of that. And it's not
But do
right.
you
It's
want them
not,
here?
I mean,
You want them
I
here?
tell you, if you sit around and spend a lot of time and waste most of your time bashing the Muslim, Jewish, whatever animal you're bashing, you're wasting a lot of time that is not being progressive. There's basically nothing you can do about it. Okay, so your argument is, well, we're trying to identify the problem and we're trying to put the word out to everybody. Okay, so you got the word out and everybody understands where everybody stands on that. I think you need to move on to other more survivability type problems, like how are you going to make it through this thing that you know is coming and is in the wind. I think that's probably your time would be better spent on that.
Just like the deployment of a self-defense.
Or Muslim bashing.
Well, it's no different than the deployment of a self-defense firearm. You must first assess the threat, and that's what I've done. I've assessed the threat.
But there's no way you're going to be able to go to Israel and take out the head cabal. So I would put that to the side and move on to what's within what I refer to as small arms range, unless you have something better than small arms.
And
that's what my grandma said.
The end game, that's where we go. I mean, we just divided the panel. You know what I mean? Like, it's another tool.
My grandma used to say, never worry about something you can't physically put your hands on. So it's basically the same thing that Saint said.
That's what I say. If it's out of small arms range, you can't do anything about it till it comes in range.
But we haven't split the panel. We're never going to agree 100%. As long as our core principles are the same, and I think they are. We love our families, and that's enough for me. As men, it's very difficult because we're put in the position of being providers and carers for our families, and then we come into a condition in a state of times that we have difficulties doing that, and that's very frustrating for a man.
I amount it to, squirrel, and you go left or you go right. You know what I mean? I've dealt with this shit my whole life, man. My skin is fucking white, but I can't change my last name. Like, it's this person's problem, it's that person's problem, or your skin is white, but you're Mexican, you can't change that, or you're not Mexican, you're fucking white. It's been that way my whole life, and religion and race. I mean, it's enough to bang my fucking head into the wall. I hate it, dude. I've never been brown enough for the Mexicans. I've never been white enough for the white people.
Oh, you good enough for us, Tony. That's all that matters. Man, I don't know enough. I know just enough about the Jewish sect to know that I'm not Jewish, and I know enough about the Muslim religion to know that I don't want to be a Muslim. So,
well, the thing is, I just don't want any. I don't want any foreign influences. Get the fuck out of America. Leave America alone. Same thing. I think America needs to get its nose out of foreign countries. Get out of Africa. I mean, nationalism is the only choice we have now. Like it or lump it, and we're going to have to start looking after our own.
But nationalism is racism. I'm being sarcastic.
That's the battle. Is globalism versus nationalism. Yeah. That's the reason. That's the reason that all these leaders are saying, well, if Trump builds a border wall, he'll start world war. He'll start global war by doing that.
Yeah, that's what the leftists want you to believe, that nationalism is racism, but
Well,
it's not. It's
that little Mao guy, the little richest guy in China, the one that owns Alibaba, whatever it is, Ma, that's what he's, that's the statement he made when Trump said he was gonna, build a border wall. He said, well, building borders will cause a global war. So be it. If he doesn't stop if they don't stop the influx, this country is. I mean, it's like I said earlier, it's the dog with the ticks on it. It's got so many ticks on it now that's sucking it dry. It ain't gonna make it too much further, and ticks are still climbing toward the dog.
Well,
I mean, that may be a
they're
backwoods
economic.
analogy, but
It's welfare, man. They wouldn't be coming here if they didn't get all those gives. It's all about the
one Syrian guy had 3 wives and 21 kids, and his annual income was $210,000 from the welfare system. That's how much money he drew every year out of the welfare. One Syrian guy, 3 wives, 21 children. I guess each wife had 7 kids, and his intake out of the welfare system was $210,000 a year.
Well, that's what I was talking about with the dysgenic effect of welfare. I mean, it actually promotes single motherhood. See, in order to be a man to even compete with the money that the woman and, say, just 2 kids gets from the government, he'd have to make in excess of $80,000 to replace the state. And you go look at family court systems and how they treat men in the family court system. I mean, welfare, two big questions. I mean, if you deal with immigration, you can deal with welfare. But it has to be done in that order. Immigration is the overwhelming problem of all of the West, not just the United States. If we deal with immigration, the rest will pale in comparison.
You know how much
this overt unwillingness.
You know how much money the U.S. will save just by cleaning the illegals out of the prison system and sending them back to where they're at? I mean, dude, doesn't it cost like $35,000 a year to keep an inmate? I mean, just getting them out of the prison system will be, unbelievable.
If you look at California's penal counts, their penal populations, you'll see that 2/3 of those are illegals.
Right.
They shouldn't even be here in the first place. But I see them beyond that, because I look at the penal system in the United States as a corporation. It's a money-making thing. That's all that about. But the biggest thing I worry about is Americans being robbed, raped, and murdered by people that should not be here in the first place. I don't give a fuck what color you are, what ethnicity you are. If you're coming here killing, robbing, and raping Americans, yeah, I got a fucking problem with you. I don't give a shit where you're from. America first, man. Yeah, I'll admit it might be a dream supporting Trump and voting for Trump. I'm going to do it anyway, because I look at it as a last ditch option. Either Trump's going to do me right, or I'm going to have to go to the use of something else that I particularly don't care to do. I don't want to have to take up arms. It's the last fucking thing I want to do. That's the reason I say.
Yeah, that Samson option's kind of tough, isn't it, the last one?
Yeah, it's self-destructive. You're going to die. You might as well accept your death. If that's one of your options, you might as well accept your death now. Because it's going to happen. I want to be as peaceable a man as possible. I want to stay within my limitations. I want to take care of my family, and I want to be left alone. Anything that interferes with that, I deem an enemy. If that makes me a racist because of it, so be it. If that makes me an anti-Semite because of it, so be it. But if you threaten me and mine, I don't give a fuck where you come from. You're my enemy.
Well, there's a storm coming. I don't see how it can be avoided, because it doesn't matter who wins. Half the people's going to be unhappy. Doesn't matter who wins. I don't know which side's going to be more violent, whether the Hillary loses side or the Trump loses side. But
And look at the estimates of a civil conflict in the United States in the current year. It's supposed to be something like 10% of the populace will die within the first 2 years of that conflict. That'll be 32 million people dead. That's as far as I'm concerned, that's not a fucking option. You have to excuse my profanity. I get emotional. I have a tendency to cuss a little more. And if you're willing to fight for America, I consider you an ally. But if you're trying to destroy it, then, and that's what these people are trying to do. This idea of borderless societies, any idiot that would subscribe to that needs to be executed as far as concerned. I'm tired of debate. You can't reason with the unreasonable. And that's what these leftists are. They're absolutely unreasonable. I actually think communism was created to render mankind extinct because everything about it represents death. I mean, look at it. Look at Stalin. Look at Mao. Look at Pol Pot. Look at any communist leader and the amount of death that followed them. We're talking tens of millions of people. The numbers aren't even really known. They're estimates. I've seen estimates as low as 60 million through the effects of communist governance up to 100 million. But either way, you have to accept the fact that communism comes to power. There's going to be tens of millions of people dead.
Yeah, they're selective. They get rid of, too. They want to get rid of the intelligent people, like during the Pol Pot. Anybody that wore glasses, they killed them because they thought they might have had the ability to read. So if they wore glasses, they killed them. So everybody threw their glasses away.
School teachers, any academics.
College professors, school teachers, you know.
But fascism is the same as communism in that effect. They're both anti-intellectual extremes.
And the stats are way higher than that. They say that communism has killed like 100 million people in the last century combined.
Hell, Mao killed God.
Yeah, Mao was at like 30 or 40 million just alone, I believe.
But look how they did it though. Both Stalin and Mao. We don't even consider Pol Pot because he's kind of low on the spectrum. But look at it. First they disarmed the people, then they starved them to death.
Food is a weapon.
Water's a weapon.
And both of them, they had no shit, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, with that being said,
what is
you can't completely say don't look at Pol Pot because Pol Pot was able to mobilize basically a preteen army that went around and killed almost all of their elders.
Well, the only reason I say that is because the numbers that he murdered, and I'm not disregarding human murder. That's not what I'm doing. But I'm saying as compared to Stalin and Mao, he's just a drop in the bucket.
Well, Cambodia's not, they weren't that big of a...
Right, when you look at sheer numbers, yeah, but statistically, as far as percentages goes, he still had a high percentage of his population that he ended up killing off.
Well, like Mao, you brought up Mao and the students' revolts with that red book, the Maoist red book. Well, look what's going on in the colleges in the United States. It's a cultural revolution. It's cultural Marxism. Through the Fabian sense, instead of a violent revolution, they're using a cultural revolution. And the problem with I would rather deal with a violent revolution. Right.
Like a little silly bitch, cocks, not glocks. Isn't that the most...
With the violent revolution, you can actually defend yourself against at a certain level. But with a cultural revolution, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
It's a war.
Everybody else will just look at you badly, but you can.
No, you just have to become accustomed to being called a racist and a bigot. And until you're able to do that, you're not going to be able to defend yourself against cultural Marxists.
And I'm okay with that, because when people start levying those attacks, I'm like, I flip it up on them. I'm like, okay, say I was a racist. We're still in America. If I was a racist, we're still in America. And if I was a racist, I have every fucking right. What are you going to exterminate me because I fucking hate a certain race of people? You going to exterminate me because I fucking hate everybody? I mean...
Nah, see, the thing with the whole racist thing, I've been called a skinhead racist by my own family, and you guys know that's totally not the truth. And I understand that I'm going to be called every name because that's the nature of the business of doing good and being good. I know where I stand comes out of love for the people around me and the people who I care about. It doesn't come out of fear, it doesn't come out of anger, it doesn't come out of malice for others. So long as my standpoint comes from good ground, I know that you can call me anything in the world and it won't matter.
Yeah, it don't that shit don't bother me. I'm like, you know, they're like, "Oh, you're a racist." And I've gotten to the point to where I'm like, "Okay, if you are right and I am a racist, so fucking what?" I mean, if I really was a racist, should I hide in fear that you're going to come execute me in the middle of the night because I am a racist? You know, it's the same thing with Hillary Clinton pulling that shit where she tried to allude that Trump said Second Amendment supporters would take her out or whatever if she became president. It's like, why are we in this fear mode to where even if Trump was alluding to that, what's the problem? She's a fucking tyrant.
Yeah,
she needs to be checked.
Yeah, everything out of Trump's mouth now is racist. Racist, racist, racist. He's being a racist because he doesn't want the country to be overrun with people that's going to overload the freaking system.
Well, you know what the term racist means. The term racist is used by leftists because they have no argument. That's all it is. The word doesn't have any power anymore. They've used it, so they've cried wolf so much now. I mean, come on. There's different colleges now that are actually segregating the student population by race as to not give microaggressions to black students. Now, wait a minute. Didn't we integrate? So how come the blacks can do this now? And no one calls them racists. Black Lives Matter. Look at it. That's as racist as can be. And the thing about it is, go to revcom.us, revcom.us. Go look on it. That's the Revolutionary Communist Party of the United States. You go look at that, and they plainly admit who is funding the BLM and La Raza, right on that page. These are the same people that were outside the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia, walking down Cherry Street in Center City, Philadelphia, with communist flags in their hands. This is like 1968 all over again.
It's George Soros and the Society for Cultural Enrichment.
And you can manipulate people through any title that you want to throw out there. You know what I mean? Like, you could say this group is oppressed and this group is the oppressors. I mean, they've got people so brainwashed that I mean, if you were a racist or you were a this or are you supposed to fear for your life? You know, they've turned a nationalist into a racist deal, but at the same time, you know, Hitler was a nationalist socialist, right? But they leave the socialist part out and they just say he was a nationalist and he was a racist. Well, what about the socialist part? What about he's on your team? He was on your team. So it's convenient. Just like they warp the Constitution to fit their needs. Whatever is the play of the day, they can say, hey, this is that. A nationalist is a racist, but a national socialist wasn't a racist. Donald Trump is Hitler, but Donald Trump's not a fucking socialist. He's a capitalist. So, I mean, you can't have it both ways. I mean, if you have a nationalist socialist and a nationalist capitalist, it's like they just blend the two things together. Well, he's a nationalist, so he must be a racist. But that doesn't make sense because you guys are fucking socialists. So you can't have both. You need to fucking make up your mind and tell me what it's going to be.
I don't see any difference between a communist and a socialist. They're just spelled different.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and we talked about that before, Marxist, socialist, communist.
Right.
It's all different legs of the same stool, and they've done it with the Constitution. They've done it with whatever they want to pull out of their ass, where if it's convenient, it works for them. If it's not, then it's racist. And that's how they've manipulated everybody, Hitler's a national social. He's a nationalist socialist. Donald Trump's a racist. He's just like Hitler, but Donald Trump is not a fucking socialist.
He's not a racist either.
I know that.
This country needs.
This is the guys that sued. As you were saying, I'm sorry.
This country needs a common enemy, and it ain't Russia.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like they don't bring up. They always overlook the stuff about Trump. It's like there's like 2 different Florida counties where he had built golf courses or added on the golf courses. They had bought them, and then before they wouldn't allow Jews, blacks, and Hispanics onto the golf course, Trump took them to federal court to overturn that so he could have multicultural access to that type of stuff. So just levying the term racist at Trump is ridiculous. I mean, good grief. His daughter married a Jewish guy. I mean, Jesus Christ, come on, man. This guy's not a racist.
She converted to Judaism. It's not that she just married him. She fucking straight converted. Not only that, but fucking Donald Trump is born and raised in Jamaica, Queens. Jamaica, Queens is a fucking black neighborhood. I know. I've been there. I spent so much time in New York City. It's fucking ridiculous. And yeah, maybe it was a little bit different back in Trump's day when he was born there. But Jamaica, Queens is a black neighborhood. I mean, it's so fucking stupid, dude. That's how they get us stuck in the mud. And that's it is so easy to label somebody a racist, and then everybody's just discombobulated. They don't know which way to go with it. It's like, hold on, I got to defend that he's not a racist. And you never get to the fucking point to what he's trying to do. And that's to put the brakes on this bullshit.
All it is they're just running around pointing the finger saying, oh, he has cooties. And then everybody goes, oh, no, he doesn't have cooties. Just like in elementary school. It's just name calling.
Well, I have no illusions. I mean, Trump's not going to stop this shit. But what I do hope for is he slows it down enough. Give us enough time to get ready. That's the only reason I support him. It's the only reason I support him.
You guys got any shout outs? We're going to slam it down.
Yeah.
We got 3 minutes.
I got a shout out. Throw in a little plug there, too. Cantwell's First Irregular, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard every Friday. Be more than welcome to have anybody. It's an open panel, open discussion. Usually lasts about 3 to 4 hours, but I'd wish to see anybody that's interested in involving themselves in the discussion to come over. You're more than welcome to come over.
G Money's out. Saints.
Thanks for the invite. Enjoyed it. Informational. I got over my panic attack when y'all quit talking about nuclear war. I got better, so.
Warrior.
Give me liberty, give me death.
Really, live free.
I want to shout out everybody that came out tonight and watched. We got fucking 17 up, 0 downs. People are fucking hungry, man. People are hungry for an answer. They're hungry for hearing people that share their same views. And sometimes it's good that we agree all the time. And sometimes it's a bad thing, I think, because sometimes I don't think we should invite a fucking liberal to come in here and fight with us. But, we started off good. I think we went down the rabbit hole and fucked off a little bit. It really comes down to taking care of you and yours and your family. And that's what's in your control. None of this other shit is in your control. It's not in our control. We don't have control over shit. The only thing you can affect is what's happening in your personal life, and that's your family. You know, that's you and your family, and that's, I don't know anybody, you know what I mean, besides fucking gangbangers hanging out on the block that don't give a fuck about their family, you know. We got a long ways to go, and we're fucked. I don't there's no silver lining to me to throw out there, and there's no silver bullet, there's no nothing. We're fucked. We got to deal with it. Some of us are holding out hope for Trump, but a lot of us don't think one man is just going to fix it. I've always stuck to the point that if he could just put the brakes on this motherfucker, maybe, you know, buys us a little bit more time to get ready and get everything in order. But, you know, we keep on with these things. Wednesday nights, we're going to do it. We're going to do it up. We've tried to get everybody on board on this panel to take the time, the 2-3 hours out of their night and dedicate themselves to this. I'm tired of saying the same fucking things. I'm tired of the same old arguments. I'm tired of it, man. But I can't let it go. I can't just throw my hands up and say, fuck it. It's here. We have to deal with it. I'm burnt out. I'm fucking tired of it. I think that we should have handled this shit a long time ago, but I'm still here, man. And I hope that everybody out there with the 18 ups and the 0 downs, I hope you guys appreciate what the fuck we're saying here and what we have to offer. You know, there's other people with other solutions. There's other chats, but you motherfuckers stuck with us this whole time. This going on like 3-4 fucking years of doing this shit. I got a fucking headache from doing it, but I'm still going. You know, I was telling HD, man, I ain't got nothing to add. You know, I ain't got shit else to fucking say that's going to be any different than anything I've been saying. But I can't let it go. You know, they're still fighting me on my way out the door because I'm gone, man. By spring, I am gone. I am not going to be a city folk anymore. I refuse to do this dog and pony show, and I will take care of me and my family. And I love my kids and I love my family, and I fucking got mad love for you patriots out there. And I honestly, I hope it shows, man. And I hope you motherfuckers know the hell I put myself through and my family. You know, law enforcement family that knows, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? They're telling me, you know, this is bigger than you. You ain't, you know, you ain't doing nothing, but I feel like I am. So I'm still here. Tony's still fucking here. 4 years. I got these guys on the panel. Some of these guys like Warrior been down with me since fucking day one. We're talking 3-4 years longer, you know? So I hope that we can still bring something that's relevant to you guys Wednesday after Wednesday. And I'm still down to do this. So I know my fucking shout out is long-winded and I apologize, but shout out to all you motherfuckers out there that hit that like button. I think we're up to 20 ups and 0 downs, and we're gonna open up the open chat right now in the private chat, and that's all I got with my fucking long-winded ass.
Anybody else? All right, I guess we'll see you next Wednesday if they still let us get on here. We'll run it till they shut it down. Live free.
Right on. And